Hello, everyone, and welcome to the OSL Season 4 Grand Final. It's here, but it almost just doesn't feel real. If I close my eyes, I can still picture the first week like it was yesterday. Needless to say, it's been a hell of a tournament, so expect to see some greatness tonight. The following contest is scheduled for a best of seven. On one side, you have the challengers starting off a little shaky, having to go through all of the weeks of the finals, but eventually finding their balance and becoming much more grounded as they head into the biggest stage of them all. From the heart of China, led by OSL's rising star, it's Lirasanmarine. Their roster consists of Captain Roises, 7-Eleven, Microbug, Nano, Potential, Sakuda, Sentry, Zio, and Year. On the other side, you have the reigning champions aiming to defend their title with a 100% win rate. They've never lost a series in OSL. Once again, joining us in the grand final from straight down under, representing our homeland of Australia, led by last season's MVP Sen, it is Zetsubou. Their roster consists of Captain Sen, Baki, Benny, Canalave, Silly, Key, and Midgie. Now, what sets are going to determine the outcome of this series? Well, first up, we have set one, Blight, which is a predetermined set on the Gas Haven. Set 2, which is Plague. Lirasanmarine's pick on Suffocation Pit 1. Set 3, which is Mastermind. Zetsubou's pick on the Wrecker's Yard. Set 4, which is Hillbilly, another predetermined set via the best of 7 on the Blood Lodge. Set 5, which is Demogorgon, Zetsubou's pick on the Wrecker's Yard. And set 6, Doctor, which is Lirasanmarine's pick on the Coal Tower 2. Now, if we manage to go 3 apiece, there will be one tiebreaker set that will determine winner takes all. And that will be Nurse. That is our last predetermined set on the Suffocation Pit 2. Now, Jumps, how are we feeling about these sets for the final series of the tournament?
Yes, it's been a great big build up for the, first, or should I say, the fourth season of OSL, the second that, we've gone quite big and quite bold, big fella, as you know. And yeah, I couldn't think of two better teams to bring us together for the final, close of the season. Lirasanmarine strong all season. Picked some really off meta picks, Doctor Plague showed up in their picking bands this week as well, so it should be lovely to see. And we've obviously got on the other side of the corner, you got the great, basically Team Australia, what is going to be quite an interesting, tough match for them. I do recall once upon a time where they did lose to some Chinese grades, so let's hope history does not repeat that itself, of course. But yeah, as you said, we got Roises, Microbug, Sakuda, and N for our survivor lineup on the Blight set, and obviously we're going to be seeing Senbolo. And yeah, it's just really amazing to see. Like you said, undefeated, haven't lost a set. I think that this man's probably a big reason of that. Set them up for a lot of wins during the season. A lot of games, not some more this season, but last season where they could have dropped off a few points, but he brought them home in the end. And it's just really lovely to see. But honestly, for a prediction today, as true nature for me, I'm gonna go Zetsubou 4-2 today, Bulla.
I think more so the same for me. Maybe even 4-1 to some degree. As we see, it's interesting you bring up your predictions, because I want to bring up the predictions of the community. Now, obviously, if you don't know how to get involved in this, obviously you have to be a VIP in our Discord, and you can earn that via the channel points for free by just watching us on the weekends. Needless to say, the community has chosen a 75% to 25% differential between both Zetsubou and Lirasanmarine. The sets that they anticipate Zetsubou to take home with flawless ease is Blight, Mastermind, Hillbilly, Demogorgon. Well, Demogorgon's a little bit more on the iffy side, and just Nurse. Basically, yes, Blight, Mastermind, Hillbilly, and Nurse. The rest is all kind of, just one apiece, basically. It's not even really in favor of Lirasanmarine, but I do have faith in the boys. I mean, yeah, like you said, Team China versus Team Australia. These two will be maybe going head to head in some of the World Cups moving forward into next year. And that's going to be an incredible matchup. But you can use this kind of as a test, realistically. I mean, if that's what we're expecting, we'll be able to kind of judge what happens in those matches if it ever comes down to that. And, anything's really possible. Like you said, these guys are really honed in on those obscure sets. And you kind of have to be when you're versing a team like Zetsubou. You really have to pick something out of the blue, out of the water, because they already know everything you know and love. They know their blights, they know their hillbillies, they know their nurses. They got everything covered. And it's going to be really hard to find those weak points and address them accordingly. They don't usually make too many mistakes in every single match that they play. They are just always, they're always practicing, always scrimming, and like you would anticipate from that kind of behavior, trying to be the best that you possibly can. You would expect them to never make a mistake and obviously just take and win everything. So we're going to be seeing Sen on the blight here. Sobrilis, not too sure where this name derives from, but nevertheless, going to be going all the way down to the bottom side where we anticipate the stealth starts are, and I do believe that was some scratch marks here over the door, and we do see the captain, the rising star, just kind of stealthing edge map there behind the shack, but we have found Sakuda straight off the rip, and now a very nice bump logic coming in there, getting that first tag onto Sakuda, who's going to be running all the way down to the shack. You can anticipate probably a shack pallet drop instantly, and that's exactly what's happening. Just going to be insta-breaking that on the side of Sen, and now going straight into the Blight Fatigue and pre-dropping these pallets on the outside of shack here on the side of Sakuda, trying to get as much chase time as possible so we can get those gens in the background working. And Sen playing very well around that tile there, but Light just saving Sakuda just a little bit. He's going to probably opt to die 7, and maybe we do have a resource there. And Sen kind of realizes that we've spent a little too long in that chase. He has made this mistake before in his early games, and he tends to kind of fall underneath the pressure when it comes to a game like this at the very beginning until he finds his footing. And then, like we said last season, and in the rest of his Blight games jumps, he really shows through those mid to late game scenarios. But nevertheless, going to be finding another chase back onto Real God here, who I'm not too sure is at the moment, so maybe you can give me some info on that. But we're going to be running all the way down to 5, and we got bugger all here besides this broken 4 walls, and this is just another quick and imminent down if we're not careful. We're going to be faking that window vault there and making around the pallet very nicely, dodging the hit. Now Sen really has to get this down, in the next couple of seconds, otherwise everything could potentially spiral out of control. But as I say that, Caster's Curse, we're going to be vaulting the pallet straight into Sen's loving embrace.
Yeah, and for technically a first chase, but overall first down, that is quite beautiful, actually. That was, they forced leave on I believe that was N at the start, I think that was, and then, no, it was Sakuda, I apologize, and then Real God, actually, who's actually micro bug, was able to last on what was really kind of a bland tile, to be completely honest. But no, you did say, Bulla, Zetsubou have gone undefeated through all their matches, of course, through the 2 seasons, but that doesn't mean they haven't lost a set. And unironically, they have lost 2 Blight sets. Would you believe that? So Sen's best arguable killer is the set they've lost the most for them. So interesting, decision to, it's a 4 set, but interesting, decision that they picked it so often. And I mean, obviously, he just loves the killer. It's no questions about it. But hopefully, he's able to pick up the pace a little bit more, because I will agree with that statement. He does have a slow early game most of the time. He does make up with it for his short chases, and unfortunately their micro bug is going to vault into the loving brace, as you said before, Bulla, of Sen's arms. But yeah, losing that grand final. It's DS as well, unfortunate. We actually dropped chase onto the DS player. I did not even pay attention to that. That is very unlucky. We have to hope he makes something here. It might be dead hard. Sen's trying to bait it out here, and I think he might have been able to bait it out there on that 4th rush there, converting on that 5th, which I'm not too sure. We'll get a confirmation when we get the, swap over to the survivor camera and get the build, of course. Well, maybe did bait it out. I'm still not 100% sure, but I think for the most part we can safely say head on DS as well, by the way. I just peeped that, Hunter. But no, yeah, like I said, they did lose the Blight set in grand final last time. Again, hopefully history doesn't repeat itself for their sake, of course. I don't think it will, because this is looking like a very strong start. DS is out the way. We've popped what seems to be the most active gen. We do have a 70 in the background. I believe that's probably down at the 9 side. At the end, it's actually on the 10 tile. So we do have a bit of gen proggy. We actually have 2 gens with a bit of progress and main. We need to last on the side of micro bug here, and it needs to be a long chase. And if it is a long chase, it might set himself up for a 3v1 at 1 gen, which may be a little bit behind schedule, Hunter, if I'm going to be completely honest, for a player of his caliber. Baits the dead hard into the stun, though. That's super unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, and it's just extended our chase a little bit longer now. We've dead harder for distance a little bit there. Now we're going to try to use this Sin car to our advantage, but ultimately going down, and there's no DS to save us this time. This will be Real God out of the game, unfortunately, at 3 generators remaining. So I'm not too sure what generator would have procced there. I do believe it was main, followed by 9 just now. So we're at basically a 4K1 scenario. If we're able to play our cards right on the side of Sen, we can get one more gem pop on the side of our survivors. Ultimately, if we overcommit chase and, you know, everything spirals out of control, this could be potentially even somewhere upwards of 9 stages realistically. So we do have N kind of stealthing around that 9 tile after having completed that generator. Sakuda in the background healing up so we can get all our survivors nice and healthy. And this is an advantage in their part at the moment. And we see some scratch marks here over at the side of Shaq, but Royce is playing the stealth very well. Has not been found at all. He's loving these edge map little tile filler thingies, whatever they're called. You know, they're not quite Bridgestone tires, but they're like junk walls. But nevertheless, Sen's still struggling to find his next chase here, and he needs to find it before we get too much progress on those generators in the background. We do see 3 has been worked here at some point in time. Can only anticipate there'd be a stealth out around somewhere around here recently, and you know, he's not going to opt to look too long in that direction. He's going to go all the way back down to where he does know someone is over at the shack trying to greet the shack generator, and we know that it's the Captain Royces, but where has he gone this time? You know, he's just playing very safely, and we have to be careful on the side of Sen that we aren't overkicking these generators here, but we are getting our Eruption procs in, which is a plus in our favor. So I would say the next down has to happen, you know, roughly within the next minute. If it doesn't, then we're in big trouble, you know, bad news bears, as we like to call it. But Sakuda just kind of stealthing around here. Deep 3, deep 2. Sen really struggling to find the stealth out here. And I think this is, you know, I know you were touching up on before, Jam, saying that, you know, Sen has lost, you know, 2 blight sets and this being his favorite killer and whatnot. I just don't think that he really vibes with the map. And I think we're really seeing that textbook reasoning right here, right now, tonight in the grand final. You know, we saw it last grand final where he lost to Addict and lost to Gospel. You know, and they were still able to pull a reverse sweep from that. But I think that does have something to do with it. Maybe just the map selection, even potentially the balancing. And, you know, now he's starting to look around these edge map junk walls here, trying to look for Royces. He's not quite behind the Bridgestone tires either. Going to take another kick onto this generator here over at Shaq, and they're just playing the stealth, the pre-leave game so well. Oh, it's just amazing to see.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right, Big Muscles. We do finally see scratch marks down at the 2 tile, but that means the Shaq gen will be able to get doubled out. But yeah, I was sensing a beautiful 3v1 coming in to start off there, and it definitely did come in. 5 rushes has been used, so he makes main for free, him being Sakuda, of course. We really have to last, though, if we want this, because we have, like I said, that Shaq gen being doubled, and yeah, no, honestly, this is really bad for Sen right now. I have to be completely fair and honest. Oh, we do take a tag there on the safe filler. Like I said, main is going to pop, and that's probably part, I think that is part of Sen's 3 gen as well. So no matter what happens now, this should be out if I'm not mistaken. We have 3, 5, and sort of mid there, so sort of holdable. You know, if you're Sen, of course, definitely holdable gens with the, you know, sort of caliber of player he is. But yeah, no, it's lovely pre-leaving as well. I think your analysis may be correct. Of course, we'll never know, but yeah, maybe it's the map, maybe it's the balancing. Who knows? I'm not too sure. He definitely doesn't look as dominant as we have seen him, but of course, you know, still in the grand final, still, you know, first main killer, and as I'm talking him down, he's hitting flickies around those fillers. And yeah, I was just saying, he hasn't looked as dominant as he once has, but when you're still making the grand final, you're still the best killer main on your team. It doesn't really matter what I say, does it? So we are trying to bait out this fake here. Really nice moon rushes there to get the fake. To get the vault from, I believe that was Sakuda there. But yeah, Bull, a 3v1 coming in. That's 3 blokes injured, and now what's looked like struggle street for the bros now looking like dominance domain, big fella.
Yeah, just a little bit now. What you have to remember is all these generators are on the bottom side, and you know, it's even though they're kind of fast spread, it's definitely still holdable for a killer like Sen. He does spot out here the last healthy survivor. He's gotten 2 tags. You can only anticipate that Sakuda and Royces will go for some sort of a reset over at the backside of main. And now we are playing this very nicely on the Z-Wall, and like clockwork, that does happen. Sen's opting to kind of leave because he knows the reset will be coming in. He knows that there's nobody working on generators. And if you catch out the reset, that's going to put him in such a power position, but I don't think we've quite found that or caught on to where they are just yet. We are still really worried about this generator over at the mid-9 side. And now we do spot out that bright yellow t-shirt here on the side of N running all the way back down to 1. And we kind of zoned in this portion of the map after this pallet drop here, and I'm really curious to see how we get out of this predicament. We do have the 2 survivors just finishing the reset, now going back onto their generators, and now Sen really needs to get this down as soon as possible, as soon as he can, but Main just proving to be a little too strong, and he knows it, just, you know, nodding back and forth, and once again, it's just kind of reset the play, you know, all those tags really for nothing. We really need to find that reset, or at the very least down N over at the side of Main, because this generator here over at the mid-9 side only has just about, you know, 6 more kicks onto it, and they're really trying to press for it here. He needs to find Security. He needs to find him quick. He is stealth around these junk walls here, but, you know, is Sen going to catch on to that? And we just looking in all the wrong places, everywhere but where we need to be looking. Mighty unfortunate stuff. Now, Sen really has to probably have to find someone else now, and, you know, that's not really going to aid him in any instance. He's just going to try and bait out the survivor working this generator. Is one of them. It is our rising star Royces, who's going to be running all the way down to 10, where we did see that it was our stealthing Security around this vicinity too, so hopefully we don't run into him unexpectedly, but we are playing this very patiently on the side of our Ace and Shades, and now it's just faking it a little too much, unfortunately, and getting hit through the pallet. The blind not quite coming in. Sen's going to opt to chase this, you know, and after the ping, after the 160 to 180 MS, you do not make that vault, Mr. Sir, unfortunately, and now Sen's going to opt to slug this because he knows he has to. That generator over at 3 is going to be pumping away, and it only has 2 pistons at the moment, so not as much progress as I would have thought, but N has pre-left it just a little bit right now, and Sen's going to opt to kick it with via Eruption, so actually, no, Eruption is on cooldown at the moment, you know, and we are getting the pickup on the side of Sakura onto Royces here, so he knows that they're all the way over at 10, but is he going to go there, or is he going to try and bait out the Survivor over at 3? I think he's just going to try and bait out the Survivor at 3. He's going to anticipate that they're going to go for a reset over at that mid-9 section, and now N taking the chase all the way down to corner 1 once more, and Sen's not going to want any of that. He's going to go all the way back down to 9, but they would pre-leave that, so he's going to opt to chase back into corner 1, but they are just putting him in a position where, you know, he's kind of forced to take this chase and kind of forced to take the stages, you know. N is fresh, so if we are able to down N and then camp N out for all remaining stages, that's going to leave us at a 7-stage win con, you know, 3 fresh. And, you know, it's not the worst thing in the world as a blight, but, like, you know, Sen definitely would have wanted a better result, and we are just going to be rushing into thin air, unfortunately, and N just really putting the tilt onto Sen at the moment, and he really has to get this down quickly. Look at that generator in the background. It's at 33%, but they're doubling it. So just to put that in retrospect, I do believe that's going to be done in the next 30 to 40 seconds if we're not careful. Sen opting to go for this chase once more. He's going to be forcing the pull, forcing the hit. I don't even think we should have really... I don't think we shouldn't really escape the lock there. I think we should have just forced the grab maybe, but no. You know, he's going to play for a little bit more time. The Survivors splitting up. They realize that they're not going to get that generator done. Unfortunately, that chase was not enough time to get that generator over at mid-9 done. They split up and gone from to 9 to 3, and, you know, I think this is the power of that 3-gen being so loose here, even though all gens are bottom side. It definitely could be a hell of a lot worse, which is why it's gone to this stage in the game. But, I mean, it's still pretty bad. He still can ping-pong 3 and 9 here, Jams.
No, you're exactly right, big fella. One thing that Lirasanmarine do have going for them right now is the bloke that's hooked in pretty much the front and in the middle of all those gens is the Deliverance player. So he can get off that hook at any time he chooses. So as long as they have good comms, N can sort of hold the cross here. Unfortunately, we actually are able to find our Sakura on the edge map. I'm assuming if we're Sen, we are going to commit this, and I'm assuming N would be hauling us all the way over to that 9-gen to double it for this chase. We are hauling us. We're taking the very, very scenic route right now. Yeah, I'm not sure what we're doing here, but I think Royces might just pop the gen. Anyway, we're Deja Sprint Burst on the gen. It's Eruption. Good comms. Beautiful there. We have to slug. Actually, I think... Oh, my goodness. The big brainness from N. He micro com that he wasn't... Or Security com he wasn't going to last, and then micro pre-wrap for the pick because he knew that they weren't going to pop. Royces just gets sort of pissed on that cars filler as well. So now Royces has to last, or he's going to go down on the most active gen. Pretty essentially, we need some confidence from Royces here. We need a lot. We're in M1 form right now from Sen. We don't have rushes. We are making the matchsticks. We do bump on the bin by accident. Couple of micro mistakes from Sen. We are gonna break the pallet. We do live a little bit longer as well, and we have to reset if you're Sakuda and N right now. It would just be diabolical if we didn't. The problem is right now, Royces is having the chase of his life, and maybe we should. We dropped the pallet on the wrong side, trying to win the 50-50, and we're gonna pick, which is a really good situation for Sen right now because he knows the reset's coming through. It's not coming through actually, so maybe he doesn't know what's going on, but we've got a split going. 9, I think this might be the second or last kick, Hunter, if I'm completely honest. 3 is low progress, but we're setting ourselves up. It still should be out, Spuller, but you can still 4K1 this if you're Sen. Maybe 4K0 is what he should be aiming for here, if I'm completely honest.
I think so too. I mean, that generator over at 9, I think, has got about 2 to 3 more kicks on it, 2 to 3 more procs of any regression of the sort. If I had to make a complete guess, we're going to go all the way back down to this unhook here, and we had to get it quick, and that's exactly what we're doing. And now we're all split up once more. I mean, you know, it's kind of in that 50-50 zone at the moment, whether we get outs or whether Sen 4Ks this, and I think this chase will really determine that. And, you know, on the side of N and Royces, they really need to be getting that next health state here, and we've kind of wasted our life a little bit, unfortunately. I think this is just going to be a tag here. You know, Sakuda really trying to bait out via the check spot, but just not quite working out in his favor. He's going to run all the way back down to the bottom 6 here, where I don't really think there's too much for him to be working with after this pallet here is thrown, but we're going to be swinging through that on the side of Send here, really trying to bait out that pallet drop and play through the ping. But, you know, I think Sakuda's just a little bit too smart for that, opting to greed. And we do get the full reset over here on the side of our Survivor. Some beautiful stuff. They have to play extra slow. They know they got, and that Send doesn't have a lot of kicks over at that 9 generator. And he's just, that's where he's headed at the moment. You know, he's really trying to make sure that it's regressing as much as possible, because he knows he's not going to be able to kick it forever. And now we're going to be continuing the chase back onto Sakuda, who's going to run all the way down to corner 5. We're dying in the middle of our generators, and this has just kind of flipped the game on its head, if I do say so myself. We're going to take this hook over into corner 5 at the moment. We have 1 survivor over at 9, 1 survivor at 3. Look at that generator over at 9. It's just regressed so much, and we see the rotating N here going all the way down to the backside of main. Sen playing around the rock is going to be able to get a flick. No, a nice flare coming in from our Renato here, who's going to be utilizing this main building window. You know, does have overcome in the back pocket once that first tag comes in, so we're going to be able to make an extra little bit of distance. But, you know, Sen opting to go back to his unhook here, going to play it safe. You know, granted that he can actually find the survivors that were actually going through the unhook process. We have found Royces. This isn't quite the survivor you'd want in this instance. You'd really want to find Sakuda here. But, you know, second win now, giving him another full health state. And Royces does have another hook to spare here, so he's going to opt to go all the way down into 7. They're doubling that generator over at 3, so we have to be really careful and really mechanical here on the side of Sen. One slip-up can really fuck it up for us, and we're going to get a nasty flick! That's going to be Royces on the ground! And after this hook comes in on the side of Sen, he's just going to be rushing all the way on the other side of the map now. You know, the question is, does he go to 5 or does he go to 3? And I don't think the gen has enough progress for them to kind of stick it through and be like, nah, hang on, guys, just commit this gen and play for the 4K0. We're playing slow once more and just, you know, going for a 1-1 split. One person bottom side, 1 person top side. And going to be taking this kick on to this generator on the side of Sen. I do believe that is 5 to 6 kicks on that generator. If my math does serve me correctly, I really need to learn where those spikes kind of are. You know, tell the story of how that generator is, how much kicks you have left on it. But nevertheless, Sen going to be still looking for that stealthing survivor, going for the unhook here. And, you know, we're in a little bit of a predicament. I can't lie, you know, we're caught out over at 7 on the side of N, and we're caught out over on 3 on the side of Sakuda here. He knows somebody's going to have to go for that unhook because, you know, not enough gen pressure to kind of let the bro cook. I'll be dead honest. And we are going to be committing to this survivor over at 3, and it is our Jake Park. Sakuda is going to go all the way down to corner 1. You know, no pallet for him to be using here. He's going to have to play around the lights, rushes, and try to flare. But Sen too strong. Sen is just, he's seen it before. He knows what the play was, and he's just played, you know, the exact perfect counterplay to that. So we do see another reset happening in the background. They're playing ultra slow, which is exactly how you have to play. It's just really unfortunate that that chase for Lirasanmarine wasn't able to really, you know, extend to where it needed to be. And Royce is just kind of stealthing out around this rock over at that mid-6 tile and rotating all the way back down to 3, and Sen really trying to look around these tiles here over at 7, even though there's not really anybody here anymore. So, I mean, where does his next chase bring us? That's my question. I mean, in all honesty, if you're to get out of this scenario with outs, one survivor would need to go on a generational chase. Sen would need to fumble the bag and keep mucking up 24/7 and just overcommit to the shit ass. And then, that's exactly how you get outs. But I just don't think he's going to be allowing that to happen. It's kind of solidifying his 4K1 at the moment. But we do have a fair bit of progress over at 3. That generator is 50% done. So, I mean, it all really depends what his next move is here. The next minute will really dictate the game. And that's really what separates the inexperienced blights is they overcommit chase a little too much. They get flared too many times, and they're just sitting chasing the one bro for gens and gens on ends. And I don't think Sen's micromanagement will really allow for that. So still really struggling to find the stealth out here though. And this could be where the panic really sets in once you're in a state like this, in a game like this. You really just want to be playing safe and camping your generators if you have no info, and that's exactly what he's doing. You see him rotate all the way down to 9 because he doesn't know where the survivors are. 3's regressing. He's keeping his eye on 3 as well. 5 is just obsolete at the moment. It's probably the worst generator to be working in an instance like this. And we found N, and we know we can commit this via the fact that we don't have enough gen pressure to get one more gen done. Royces is starting a gen from naught to finish. He needs to last 90 seconds here on the side of N if we are to get this done. But, I mean, I just don't really see it happening. Main is a strong building, but I think we're leading anywhere between the 30-second chase and now... This match has really gone on for such a long time, It's gone on for 20 minutes! Oh my god, not the flicker around those damn bookshelves in the middle of main! Oh, it's not every day you see something like that, Jams.
Definitely perked up a little bit, and that will solidify 4K1 finding Royces there in the mid-map. Oh, what a battle of endurance that entire game. They ran out of kicks in the end, but he was still able to pull it back. Yeah, him being Sen, of course, and... there was just maybe just a few errors on the side of Lirasanmarine. It'll be pretty hard to watch. We are going to get the sprint burst off. I don't even know if we make this main. We do make the main. I don't think it's going to mean too much in the end. We might even get the pick onto end there. No, we aren't even going to get the pick, but yeah, no, really, really well played. We are going to continue this chase. I'll give the bro some love for his little last chase here, the rising star of Season 4. He's on the matchsticks and does actually get smarted through that. But yeah, no, 4K1, beautiful result. You can't really argue. You can't really be angry at the bro. He had a rough start as per usual. Not as per usual, but we've seen him start slow on multiple occasions. He picks it up. He has been outed on the blight. It is doable. Today it's not going to happen, which will be a really good mental thing for him, I imagine. Him being his strongest killer, I'm sure he's feeling himself. Like I say, he picked up towards
EBO. Can't remember exactly what teams they're a part of. I know Zetsubou would have been too savage at the time, but they definitely are capable of outing this. Especially if potential is getting outed by Harden, and that's not to discredit Harden. It's just the fact that Harden have had really rough matches against Zetsubou, so that can really facilitate the thought of the fact that potential is going to be outed here. So, I mean, I could be proven wrong. I should have a little bit more faith in my Chinese goats. They played immensely well throughout that Survivor match. Unfortunate that it was a 4K1. So a 4K2 win con for potentially, I mean... 4K2 on the blight, you don't see it very often. It is doable, but, they would have to be making immense mistakes. You'd need to be forcing the error on these survivors, and you know exactly how hard that is to do. I mean, I always say, time and time again, if you're able to meet somebody's win con, you need to match what they did and then better it. And the only way you can do that on the side of potential is quick and short downs, quick and short chases, maybe even potentially slugging a little bit. You don't have to slug as much as if you were able to meet a 4K4 win con, but you need to slug at some point in time. And now we're going to be taking the first chase onto Sen here, who's in the corner of 8. Going to be pre-dropping this crane, which is a newly added tile to this godforsaken map, and now we're running all the way down to mid 8, and look at this. He doesn't even need to look ahead. No camera flicking, no nothing. He knows exactly where to rotate to. He's gone all the way down to the pallet gym over at 10. We do see Silly on the totem in the background, and that will be ruined, gone in 3, 2, 1, pop. Now, yes, okay. Oh, my timing was a little bit off, but we are still committing the chase onto Sen, who's been forced into the edge map here over at corner 7, but is still able to delay this tag a little bit too much from the side of potential, and now coming in a little too late, but we're going to be following up with the consecutive rushes here. We have to be very careful that we aren't spiraling out of control. Sen playing around the bump logic very well experienced in the blight, but unfortunately going down there, as there wasn't really much for him to run onto. No line of sight breakage there, and the blight just being a little bit too fast on his 5th rush. So still a fairly short chase for what it's worth in terms of this set. We did manage to get the ruin. We did manage to get the ruin totem though, so ruin is gone, and we only have access to 2 perks for the remainder of the trial. That will be eruption and call of brine. But I do like the balance in the build. I mean, I'm sick of players just bringing in 2 totem perks that get popped straight off the rip, and they're only a 1 per Andy for the rest of the match. They're only playing with eruption. It's really nice to see some balance on the side of potential, and even on the side of Sen last match. But nevertheless, we're going to be taking that tag onto Canalave, who's going to be running all the way down to main. But we want Sen here, who is our tunnel out. He's going to be playing around this filler over at mid 4 here. Has to be very careful playing the checkbox very well. He is on 180 ping though, so what can he potentially do here? He has to play very safe. So he is rotated all the way over to this mid pallet here over at mid 3. We are 1 gen closer to our win con at the moment, and we played maybe a little too greedy, no, and we're greedy the pallet as well. And we're still able to run around this. Oh no. Is he Michael Jackson or what the fuck? Huh? Oh no. Okay, so I'm not too sure if the casters would have no, sorry. I'm not too sure if the audience would have heard us, because our streamer here was having a little bit of technical issues. But Jams, what do you think of that chase? I don't even really caught a glimpse of what really happened. I'm kind of flabbergasted.
He was walking him down on the midfielder. I was waiting for him to rush him down. I'm not too sure what was happening. I think he might suspect that Sen is the DS, and we've actually waited out the DS, mind you. We've counted from 60 down to 0. Someone in the VC has got the Alexa alarm clock ready to go. That is lovely to see. And honestly, the problem for Potential is right now that once Sen does come off this hook, he is DS dead hard, so it is going to be annoying to play around. But I want to make a note. I think Sen, Sakuda, sorry, I apologize. Potential forced him sort of back topside with those rushes, because Sen was a bit impatient about where, he was going. He thought he had like a bit of leg space and tried to break away, but Sakuda, no, I apologize, sorry. Potential actually ended up on top of him, and he was forced to die top, which was kind of bad for them because he got hooked in front of all the gens. And we are hitting the BT. We do not care that he's dead. That is so good for Potential, and I don't even think he knows it. Maybe playing around the fact that he is going to be dead hard. I love this so much. This is great macro knowledge from the bro Potential. I really am loving to see this. Now, we need to have a short chase if the side of Potential, and if you're the side of Zetsubou, you need to have Sen as a long chase. Now, I would even consider, if I'm sitting here forcing the locker, just sit in that locker. It might be a bit of a risky play, to be completely honest, because, the bro can just sit there and wait it out. But I just don't know if you're going to be able to last this long on ping. If we can get the Shack pallet drop, which we do, this is lovely. So Sen has chosen the option of just living his life to the maximum of his ability. We actually crouch on the door there, so this is going to be another 5 rushes avoided. This is exactly what we need. Last season's MVP showing up as well. We're getting down to that 4K1 Hunter, so the Tycon is about to come straight through. No win con will be met for Lirasanmarine. And that is done, dusted right then and there. And Sen is still alive. The problem is he's still going. He doesn't have any fillers. We need to bump. We make the filler as well. We need to use their rushes if we're Potential. And oh my god, Bullet, this chase is going for too long. We have yet another filler. Potential. Eyes have rolled to the back of his head.
Yeah, I mean, the game just kind of escaped his grasp here. I mean, I did say you need to better what the last team did, and that's exactly what Zetsubou have done here. This tunnel out has lasted way too long, and everything's just spiraling out of control at the moment. We're looking at potentially a 6-stage game if we're able to down Sen, but if we're not able to down Sen, this is just going to be 3 stages, and now the teabag's coming in as well. He's just, he's got the mental mind games down, it's, there's no way. There's just no way I've seen that. He's just crouch spun him around the corner and done the flare, and that will be the win con popped and the win con achieved. But we have down Sen as a result of it. We will not be getting him out of the trial. Cilia on the gate over, I do believe, the backside of Shaq. It's more so towards that backside of Crane, but nevertheless, potential going to be taking that last stage onto Sen for the 3-stage, 1 fresh. Nowhere near enough for the win con that we would have needed. Sorry, for the amount of stage we would have needed to kind of back up our win con. But lineup that you saw last match, it's Sen, Canalave, Silly, and Baki. So, I don't think that'll be changing anytime soon. Like we always say, I mean, when there's 4 people in the VC, it doesn't seem like there's going to be anyone else into swap. Actually, we got Benny there tonight, so he's just joined up, and I don't think we'll be able to see Benny tonight, unfortunately. Though, I mean, unless they miraculously decide to put him on probably like maybe the last remaining set, who knows? But nevertheless, I do anticipate that this match will go down to the wire. It is Sentry, and Sentry was in the running for MVP this season. He did end up coming 6th, unfortunately, but I mean, still definitely there, still very apparent. He plays on both the Survivor and the Killer. Plays a little bit more Killer, though, and that's usually what you have to take into account when, awarding the MVPs, just because for the sheer fact that you're on your own when it comes to Killer WinCon, when it comes to playing for your team, representing your team as a Killer, so you got to give Killer Main some love here. So, nevertheless, Sentry going to be playing around this choke point here and trying to catch out the stealthing survivors rotating over towards the top side of the map, but, really struggling at the moment. And I think we're going very deep into the map and anticipating they're going to be stealthing out for our Corrupt. Unless we've seen somebody here all the way over at corner 5, we just shouldn't really be checking this area too deep. And because Silly's already rotated all the way around the backside here and gone all the way down to the log section of the map, and he's nowhere near anybody else. This is quite unfortunate, but we have spotted out Silly here, who's just been out of this position just slightly. It's going to be getting tagged by the Vomit here and running towards this. What the hell is this pallet? Nevertheless, we're going to be using the pallet to stun Sentry, who's just kind of W'd into it for some reason, not even playing any sort of mind games, has opted to leave the first chase here and kind of reset. So he knows that an infected Silly is all the way down on the bottom side of the map, is going to be quite obsolete at the moment. Going to be vomiting back on these generators here and trying to go for someone who's gone all the way to the backside of main, and it does see that they have kind of pre-left that generator and gone all the way down to corner 11. We're going to try and cut them off on the side of Sentry here, and we've opted not to go check that corner and just vomit on the generators here, so playing very safe amongst our uncorrupted zone. And corrupt intervention about to expire here, and we do have some progress on these generators. We do see Sen just running away from moments ago working 3. It is infected now at the moment, and he's not going to really want to touch that, and if he doesn't have to. And now Sentry, once again, ping-ponging around these uncorrupted 4 generators. Corrupt should be finished now, so the survivors are free to work generators over at the other side of the map, or it is very close. Yeah, it's free now. So they're able to go work those bottom side generators. I think Sentry's more than happy to kind of set up camp here amongst this. What kind of generators does he have top side? He has a 3 gen. And if you count 3, a part of that 3 generator, he has like a 4 gen. So I think he doesn't really care about these generators over at the bottom side. He's anticipating that 7, mid shack and 5 are going to get done, but Baki using that champion a light very nice and early to be able to make the edge map in here, and Sentry's going to know nothing of the sort. He's going to go maybe check that zone there, but no. He's opted to take the kick back onto 8 here and go back for his rounds. He has rotated all the way around for that from that top side of the map, and Canalave just working that mid 2 generator, I do believe that is. We're all still waiting for this first chase to really commence here. Little bits of progress, taking it baby steps at a time. I do like this play from the side of Zetsubou. It is very patient, it is very slow, but that's kind of how you have to play the choke maps. You can't get caught out in the wrong positions, but we do hear someone coughing their guts up. It is Silly, who is still infected, but not injured at the moment, as they have been walking around the map. Not too sure if they are fixated player. Gonna be getting that injury coming in now, but, Shack pallet gone, and we definitely don't want to be using Shack now at a time and point like this. If we get hooked in the basement, that could spell absolute problems for our survivor team here, as we do still have 3 generators in this vicinity that we could camp out for the duration, the remainder of the trial, if we're not careful. And now getting caught out, unfortunately, but we're not going to be swinging through any sort of pallets here on the side of Sentry, playing very, very cautiously to, we're really anticipating that we're going to be missing the swings, and I just don't think that's going to be the case on 180 ping. Playing the mind games very nicely, though, catching out Silly in a little bit of a predicament here. It's probably going to be going down before reaching this rock fill, unfortunately, so some good stuff on the side of Sentry. It is a fairly late down. We're somewhere around the, 3-minute mark of the match, and we only seen the first down now, Jumps, but for the most part, even the survivors are taking the game slow via the gen progression.
Yeah, trying to save, everyone, like as many people you can get infected as possible. I think they're just going for the 0 tolerance on infection sort of play style, which It does a couple of things. What it does for you, it nullifies one of his perks, which has been out of Fairbear, which is what he's brought into the trial. Pretty standard plague perk, but I think you'd agree. Everyone brings this in. This is had its rounds of buffs and nerfs over the years, you could say. What it does currently, what its main effect does is you want to go for that 4 infections, right? Those 4 injuries, so you can get that 20%, I believe. Which is an immense slowdown in a set like this, bro. As you can imagine, you can already imagine how slow it goes. So you can see, Sentry's kind of just Sentry is taking this very, very slow. Has the mid-gen still up, which is very, very interesting to me. I thought maybe Zetsubou would try and smash that out as quick as possible. Now, I think we're going to see a really, really ballsy heads-up play here from Sentry. He's just going to grab the red vom mid and send it all the way back to Shaq, not give 2 pisses and farts about those top side gens like you alluded to, Buller. And I think it's going to work out in favor for him because we've got Sen here who's gone for a cheeky snipe on the basement, which, in all honesty, you sort of have to in a situation like this. Now, the issue is Big Sil needs to last. He's done this so many times. He's been here so often on this very home ground. Suffocation pit 1. Unfortunately, we're bolting into the killer metagame, the Lithe, and Silly's going straight back down to the ground. We saw this in an earlier season, in an earlier season matchup. I believe it was Gospel Forsaken, or maybe Gospel Kaido Kids, I believe, where I believe it was Quinn, he kept Addict in basement over and over with that red vom and he couldn't get out. And that's the problem you have when you die in the basement, or, you can get hooked basement on Suffocation. You're sort of just GG dead if the Plague plays it how they should. And, we all expect Sentry to be able to, put on those types of plays. And, as I said earlier, Buller, maybe a bit of a ballsy heads-up play, but pretty standard stuff for him, I would say. I would have the confidence to make a play like that, but obviously just believes upon himself that it's common sense. And that, to me, that little simple fact alone is just proves to me that I know these 2 blokes, or these 2 teams I should say, deserve to be in this spot right now. And I'm very happy that we got a cross-region matchup for our grand final, because it's always good to see what the survivors can do on ping. I definitely think it adds an extra layer to the game. If you're able to play around, the ping effect and still be as effective as you are on, your current region, current ping, I think that's definitely a skill set that is, not looked at by a lot of teams. I could go over numerous players who are just as consistent on ping as they are on their about 200 ping. And like I said, Buller, that's something you need. We do actually catch blood here below. I'm not sure who this is. This is Backy, and this is going to be a bit of drama. We have to last here. No, Josh is being brought out here. This is going to spell dramas, Buller, and I am going to say it right now, Hunter. This might just be 4K1 territory, because I believe Silly... sorry, I apologize. I believe that, Sen and Canalave are both stuck topside here, Buller. So he's just going to hold the choke here, if I'm not mistaken.
They're forced to cleanse at the moment. I think this is where they have to start thinking about it. Obviously far away, you want to ideally as further away from those generators and that hook as possible. But, we're going to leave no room for anything of the sort here. We're going to take this chase back onto Sen. I was just thinking, Jumps, when that, obviously we had the down onto our... when we had the kill onto Silly there, we had one more. We had a pain resonance to be used, but unfortunately, we're not going to be able to use it now, and I don't think we can. As we would have preferred that the down happened in basement, we're going to be able to camp out the basement, as to oppose of looking for a pain res and trying to force the unhook. He knew there was nobody working those bottom side generators, and this has just allowed him to kind of traverse into this section of the game, where now he's down Sen all the way at the top side of the map, has a pain resonance in hand, so it's going to slow down the generators even more. And he has the potential to go all the way back down to bottom with red vomit in hand. So, I was thinking problems a little bit moments ago, but now I'm thinking, yeah, he's in the boxer. You're entirely right. Now, enough of the yap, going back into more recent events here. We do have Backy just kind of stealthing for this pool. I think we know he's there, and we have it in hand, and this is really bad. We're going to have to play the line of sight. No palace to be used either, but we're able to make away with a 99 sprint burst all the way into the corner, but unfortunately it's not going to do us any justice, as there's nothing to block the path of the red vomit here, and now Canalave is in such a predicament here. He doesn't make the wait, no. Oh no, that was extra close. Yeah, because he had red vomit. If it was the M1, he would have made it, but nevertheless, going to be vaulting the window here into this short rock. And if he makes out of this, I am going to scream. But unfortunately, he's going to be going down. You said 4K1. We got a fucking 4K2. Game on.
Oh, this may just be closer than everyone initially thought. A lot of people thought Zetsubou were going to stomp it home, but Lord, they really, really did. And I'm going to be completely honest, I'm more in favor of Zetsubou. But after watching that, gee, by golly, you have to fear for what comes ahead. Yeah, 4K2. That means that Sen's going to have to sit his ass down and in that gaming chair of his and posture up a 4K3 for his boys. And you know what the funniest part about it is? It's not the most out of range thing for him to pull off. This is a bloke that we've seen do some crazy stuff before, but
I mean, plus Sen's mind games with the fact that he is on ping. This is scary territory. He's going to have to pull a 4K3. So, I mean, just quick and short chases are right up his alley. They had a very good start. Don't forget, like, Zetsubou had an incredible start. Obviously, that mid to late game, everything just kind of crumbled and fell underneath pressure. If Sen can get a better start to his game, I think we're heading towards the 4K3, 4K4 mark. But you have to get through Lirasanmarine first, and that's not an easy task, I must say. Nevertheless, we're going to be spawning in all the way over at the bottom side over at 7 here, doing our rounds check, and what kind of split do we have this match around? And oh, these gens are ugly. I don't like this at all. We do have one over at 7, one at 5, one at 4, so nothing in the middle to really hold and protect. So we're going to have to leave these generators, but look at those top generators. Hang on a second. Before I start talking immense shit, what have we got there? 4 gen. Okay, so, it is quite loose. We do have that tight 3 gen over at the 11, 10, and main side of the map, plus that 3 generator. That's a little bit out of our way to go protect here. So Sen, at the moment, would want to be finding a survivor right about now and getting in chase as soon as he can. So I'm going to be looking around the rocks here, and we do know somebody's over at that Z-Wall there. I do believe that was Real God, and just kind of stealthing around that main building. Real God making a way, stealth 100 right there, but nevertheless, Sen still struggling to find this first down, and they're playing around the corrupt once more. I think this is the popular play to really take this set. You don't want to be rushing into anything you don't have to, because you want to be working those generators where the killer isn't vomiting on. And Sen realizing that is going to be checking out every generator on the map, even the corrupted ones. They could be stealthing around the corrupted ones, and going to be looking around the rocks here, trying to really find out Sakuda, who's very close to our killer Sen at the moment, but Sen's not going to check the corner 4 map. And just when you need to check the edge map corner, the survivors are there. But when you don't, they're not there, as you would have seen last match. So the exact opposite that happened. And right now, we're really starting to come into a portion of the match where it looked very similar to our last Plague match, so Plague Trial. So we do see, I do believe it is, oh, Real God just caught out. He heard him breathe. We saw him turn his head for a second to get some, he got some info via the little breathing sounds. You could tell that he just kind of turned his back to go, hang on, is that a survivor breathing? And we've caught him out. Real God going all the way down to the shack now. This could be a quick chase if we're not careful. Once again, chasing around the basement, but not really a tight 3 gen to be working with like we had last game. So Real God getting caught out on the check spots here. Does he make the pallet? Yes, we'll be pre-dropping that as he does have to. Now has to unzone himself all the way down to where the pallets are on the other side of the map over at 5 here. Going to be opting to greed, but we know that we haven't created enough distance, so we're going to opt to play the pallet. Getting mind gamed, unfortunately, by the Sen mind games. Anticipating the down. Now waiting there. Didn't quite come in as we had with thin air on the side of Sen. Going to be following up the chase all the way down to the shack once more, but no shack pallet to be used. Do have life in the back pocket though. 3, 2, 1. It's going to be proc. Do we get hit through? No! We hesitated at the window just slightly, and we're going to be going down. We do have Sakuda with sprint burst and Beaver in head. Sen is just a demon. He just knows. He's played this game before. Oh my God, he has like a 6th sense for just like when someone's going to be around and make the play that they need to. He's just thinking, what would I do if I was the survivor right now? Oh, I'd be around a beamer save. Oh, that's crazy. That's crazy that he even picked up on that. I can't lie. From just listening out for the breathing of Real God to find that first chase to playing ever so well and get that down. And we have another freaking basement hook, but this time at 5 gens remaining, Jams.
Yeah, and Bro, Real God had the 1v1 build as well. If I was him, to be completely honest, I would have just pre-sent that bolt at Shaq and, just use that life, get the exhaustion out, and that would have been a beautiful. But Sen cut the chase in half, essentially, by cutting down, him using the exhaustion. We are going to be able to stop the mid-gen. We don't have pop at our disposal, and we are going to see a play similar to what I believe it was Century last game who made, and we are just going to go straight back to basement with the Red Vom. We're sort of holding the cross. We're not really going back instantly. This is a bit more dangerous on the side of Sen because someone could just be parked up in the basement ready to pull on that last second, and he could have no idea. And with the way Sakuda was playing, it may just be a very high possibility, unless he's very aware of where all three survivors are at this current time, which I am not aware if he is or not. It is kind of dangerous, like I said, but we are choosing to go now. We don't pull right that last second, so it is going to be dangerous. The Red Vom is coming out. We aren't going to be able to get any downs there. We need to get it down now if we're sent, because two survivors are running at you, Big Muscles. Big Muscles, please just hit the M1 on him. We're counting to 10. There it is, Big Muscles. We are blocking. I'm not sure if he was intentionally blocking there. Maybe my apologies there. Maybe we were trying to get the snipe onto the near behind Real God there. I'm not too sure. I apologize if that's what the situation was. But yeah, I think Hunter, just a little indication before, maybe that little wave on the pallet, maybe just gave it away that maybe someone was playing for pallet save, and maybe, as you said, Sen's just got the sixth sense. He knows, this is the time to play for a beamer save. If I get the beamer save here, GG's, it's over, you know what I mean? But no, yeah, like I said, when he capitalized, luckily for Sen and Zetsubou, that isn't the outcome that happened. We were able to spot out the sprint burster. But yeah, the basement is coming in now. The problem is for Sen, we need to 4K right bloody now, and we still have 3 survivors. And we're sending our 4th survivor in Roses for the pool. It doesn't matter. Everyone is getting pulled. We're getting the other Red Bomb too. This is going to spell either drama, or it's going to be one of the most magical things I have ever seen. But if I believe it's Sakuda and N, we need to spam a top gen right now. We dodge it, dramas! Oh, we aren't going to make the window. We need to force a pull on the side of Roses here. This is dramas though, Buller. This is going to be so bad. I'm not too sure. Kind of a stalemate. What's the gen progress looking like topside if we can get a goose? It's 50!
Painrez, surely, I think. I don't know if that was a token yet, and we've swapped out the exact wrong time. It wasn't a Painrez! Wait, are they still working that? No, he's found it. He knows exactly where it was. But still, even then, does he commit chase here? I mean, Royces is just in the background working that generator, pumping pistons away. We have 3 survivors in the trial still remaining, all playing very aggressive-like, as they haven't gone for any cleansing of the sort. Oh my God, there's no way that just happened. That is absolutely crazy. That's another pain resonance stack too, so that's even more progression just regressed from... Oh my God, I'm losing my voice. Hang on a second. I just need to recollect my breath. My God, that's even more regression on that most progressed generator there. So, I mean, we're at a little bit of a stalemate, like you had said here about Big Muscles. So, we got 2 more survivors left in the trial here, both injured. So, we're playing very aggressive for this pull on the side of Sakuda, who's going to be vaulting that window back into the main building, now playing around that... pallet here on the outside, going to be pre-dropping that instantly. Still playing the window, and Royces is just pumping pistons in the background. Sen's caught onto it. He's going all the way down to the bottom side of the map now. He's opted to leave the chase and get the unhook, let the unhook happen rather, sorry. And now we've rotated all the way to where Roses had been working that generator. I do believe that was all the way over at corner 4, corner 5. So we're going to be kicking that instantly, and now probably even continuing on just looking for Roses in this area. He's not over in the edge, but we did see him rotate all the way over down to the shack, and we've got to be careful that he doesn't get caught out of position, as we do have Red Vomit in hand. We do have N and Sakuda in the background just pumping pistons once more. They are so close to the win con here. If they get the 4K1, that's 1 apiece, and we're in, and it is game on here. Sen is not going to let it happen easily, though. They've opted to pre-leave after realizing the fact that he's going all the way back down to the top side of the map. Now, Royce is going all the way back down to corner 4 here. Sen just kind of caught in the middle now. Does it go for 4? Does it go for 10? Oh my God. And we see the scratch marks lead all the way over into main now. He's going to have to elect to chase this. He doesn't really have any more options here. I think the win con is just been blown a little bit out of the water here, Jams, in all honesty. You have 75% progress on the top side, 75% progress on the bottom side here. Going to be playing the window on the side of N here, and Sen knows it, hears them in the background, following the blood trail going all the way down into the bottom of main, and this will be the generator in the background done, unless we get the eruption proc, which we do, and it's so close on the side of Roises. Do we make it on the side of Sen all the way to the other side of the map? He knows via the proc of Call of Brine. It is so damn close. It is about just 90%. Oh my god, I think that does pop. It is so close. He's running all the way over there. He doesn't have Red Bull in hand. It's done. It's done. It's done. That's mighty unfortunate, whiffing Fin Air as well, and that will be them taking away the second set for 1-1 apiece. My god.
I mean, yeah, what a performance from Sen, though. What a fight from him he put up. It is 1-1, like you said, but well played to Lirasanmarine. Their survivors are playing immaculate. Their comms, maybe the best comms in the whole of the league. I have to be completely honest. I've heard Royce's. You know, I know he's very, very energetic and loud. They're giving him as much as they can, and a little bit of a slight lag out there. I apologize on the side of our of our viewers. I apologize, but as I was saying, yeah, very, very great performance from Sen. Rose's, you know, Deja sitting on that gen with with these little smash hit, and you know, Sakuda and N just playing top side sprint burst main balance. It's very beautiful to see overall. But yeah, Jesus Louises, yeah, this is going to be 1-1 on our lovely Saturday evening grand final. Please, you know, we do have 7 sets coming up, so we must see, you know, who takes this next set. It is, you know, it is a big set coming up. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Corey, we've got the Mastermind coming up next, and you know, this is what we need. We are watching an M1 showcase from the Big Daddy here. He's going around the rock. He's trying to get this down. He's trying to work him, but he can't. Rose is going to the short side now. Rose is doubling back. We're going to get a stun through the pallet. That is unlucky. But as I was saying, Hunter, you know, this next set, Mastermind, I believe, Buller. Please correct me if I'm wrong.
It is Mastermind, followed by the Hail Billy, which is the predetermined set. You know, Mastermind being the set that Zetsubou had picked. But, you know, obviously Sen's going to really want to hone in on that set, as it is the one that he would have picked. You know, he's one of the best masterminds in the region, realistically, alongside being the best Blight. But, you know, back to recent events, Lirasanmarine are just playing absolutely incredible right now, you know, and we're almost able to get that generator done in the background. We're running all the way into it on the side of Royces here. Is going to be playing the short filler, and N is just pumping it away while we're chasing, and Royce is getting the smash hit. Farley is going to be running all the way to mid. Oh my god. And they're all up and running. That's crazy. Wait, was that an adrenaline play? I missed it. I like threw my head up in the air and went, oh my god, that is absolutely crazy. But now we're on a 3-3 split and we're looking at outs, bro. After a 4K2 on the other match here in the background, it is N and Roses who will be escaping the trial, playing for Hatch on the side of Sakuda here, who's probably going to opt to W away from the shack here after the Hatch has spawned when the survivors exit the trial here. A little preemptively, a little early here. He does not make that, unfortunately. He has to play the rock here. Doesn't have access to any exhaustion of the sort. Now, is he able to escape this trial? I don't think he is, after being caught out like that, and Sen playing the mind games very well, just broadcasting the, like, you know, the reason why he's on this killer, you know, playing that very, very nicely. But, I mean, well, how many was that? That was like a 9-stage game, 4 fresh, if I'm not mistaken, you know. Wow. Just wow.
At the moment, I think his Mastermind, you know, it plays into his M1 a lot more. I think he's, you know, his ability on the Mastermind to set up it in his head is a lot better, which is crazy to say because on Blight, he hits some of the most nutty clips that I've ever personally seen. But on Mastermind, you know, it's a bit different. You know, it's a bit harder. You know, Blight has a bit easier time learning, in my opinion, than on the Wesker. You know, to get those solid, crispy, you know, Wesker dashes, they are pretty tough, Buller, in my opinion. But you know, on the side of we have DC'd here, Buller. I believe maybe a wrong lobby, or maybe I'm not too sure. Oh, it was the map not being set, so that's gonna be a penalty on the side of Zetsubou, I believe, Buller.
Then no, that's not what you need going into this match. That's okay, so that's half a stage gone, no Tycon, that's all that means. Honestly, not that much big of a deal in all honesty, especially if he can really pull up a result. It's more along the high gens for him. So like that 4K2, 4K3. Yeah, though, like when in a game so close like this, you definitely just don't need that playing into your mental mind game. And no, sorry for cutting you off, man. I think you were trying to light the stream on something a little bit more as we were loading in. I just wanted to kind of, shine some light on the fact of why we aren't actually in the game at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, I believe, um, it's we have, the refs have told them that it is the penalty has applied. So yeah, no Tycon, like you said, Buller. I believe, yeah, the wrong map being said is it's a pretty big mistake to make in a grand final. I can't lie, Buller. He's all season, it's mastermind too, bloke. Like, it's
He's
supposed
in
to
there.
be.
There in his head though, bro. Like I think, like in all honesty, it's just like he's already crumbling under pressure at the moment. He just needs to remain composed.
It's a big, big statement from the owner of OSL. Maybe. I would agree. I would agree. If he does let this game slip out of his hands some way and they do out him, I think that it's going to be problems for them because let's be real with each other. Let's be honest. The lifeline of this team, maybe not the lifeline, but the heart and soul of this team is the Centerator, Ben 10, Sen 10. So, he needs a good performance here because we have seen situations in the past on bigger occasions, you could even argue, than this, which is again even crazier to say out loud. But I mean, we just have to kind of wait and see, Buller. Honestly, a prediction is very, very hard to come by on something like this because he could pop off and go 4K3 and go send mode, or he could crumble like we've been alluding to, Buller. And I'd like to see him go send mode, but I think a lot of people would like to see him get outed. A lot of people, but we'll have to wait and see, Buller.
Yeah, that we will. And now going to be taking the first chase a lot earlier on in this trial. It's going to be on Real God at the moment, who'll be pre-dropping this pallet over at that 5 tile. Playing around it very nicely is Sen, unfortunately getting caught out on the tile that sticks out, but going to be taking that M1, and now Real God running all the way down into Shaq's probably going to go for a pre-drop on that and just try to create as much distance as humanly possible, all the way down to what seems to be the bottom side of the map over at 7. And just running around the cars here, trying to break line of sight, not getting any grabs on the side of Sen. And now Real God running all the way down into 9, so that can only give the thought that those survivors will be working that generator over at the 3 section of the map. Now we are lasting a little too long here, but as I say that, Real God's going to be going down, unfortunately, and well done to Sen to get this somewhat early, before the first gen popping. So I'm going to be taking this Pain Resonance hook all the way over at this 7 side of the map and now rotating all the way back down into where the gens have been worked over at 3. If we're able to really catch onto that on the start of Sen, this could spell a little bit of trouble for our survivors at the start of the game. It's a little bit of a slow start. Definitely not the one that you want at the moment, but he has opted to go all the way down to 11 as we have spotted out Royces, and we are trying to get line of sight on those generators over in the background, but, all the obstructions just isn't going to allow for that. And now we're just going to commit the chase onto Crane and play this a little bit more safe on the side of Sen, as we know we can afford to do that. But we're going to go back to the unhook here that happened fairly early, and the FTP coming in to deny the tunnel out is going to allow the survivors to reset their game plan, and just kind of stuck around over at 7. And this is going to take 2 tags to get Real God down as soon as possible. He's going to be pre-dropping this broken 4 walls here and running all the way down into the bottom portion of 6 here. Sorry, the top portion of 6. Going to be narrowly missing that grab on the side of Sen. And like I said to you, Jums, I think the jitters are happening on the side of Sen at the moment. You don't usually see the big man fumble underneath the pressure, but Real God really playing around this chase very nicely, and he has composed himself once more on the side of Sen and taken that tag, and Real God are running all the way down into the 3 section of this map. Now playing the very good bus here, my God, backside window as well. So actually, no more window. Oh, I forgot that it's open these days. My God, can you tell that I haven't played the game in a hot minute? And now just now we're just bumping into the tires, and we're playing around the pallet still on the side of Real God. We're able to catch them off guard, though, as we have fully center in the corner of 2. But those generators over at 9 and somewhere over on the other side of the map are probably going to be pumping away right now. As we saw the double happening all the way over at 11 and has rotated all the way to 9. We do see deep 6 is being worked as well, but Royce is able to pump this generator without any problems, as there is no access to any Pain Resonance stacks, as we had used them at the start of the game on the side of Sen. He's now going going to go all the way back down to this 6 generator that we had been seeing worked, and opting to just run around 9 at the moment, and Sakuda just kind of stealth around this generator that has been worked, and Sen knows that he's around this area, but has gone all the way down to 7 at the moment, and trying to catch off Royce is going for the rotating pull, I would assume. We have heard 7 being done in the process, and I think we can kind of like keep an eye on 6, keep an eye on 7, keep an eye on Hook at this time at the moment, because everything's relatively bottom at this point in time. So now just doing his rounds check once more, trying to see if he can spot out anyone out of position, but they all seem to be fairly in position at the moment. Sakuda playing very aggressive on this generator though, and Sen has spotted him. This is going to force a chase onto the deep 6 portion of the map, but we have opted to go back for our tunnel out, and I do like this play on the side of Sen, very conventional. Now going to be following up that chase all the way over at the top side of the map, nice and away from those generators being worked on the bottom side. We're really going to have to last in this chase, and we do have access to N playing.
Oh my god!
No, wait, the FTP coming in, that's crazy! He's got him back on off the floor, and now we're able to run around the rock once more, but and ultimately it doesn't really mean as much, unfortunately. We're going to be taking another down. Nobody around for the pallet save, as Sen does know they're being working the generators over at the bottom side, and that could have been absolutely problematic if we're able to make a resource or a window at that point, but mighty unfortunate for the stuff of the survivors and Lirasanmarine to not be able to really do anything with that FTP play. That was absolutely incredible. Nevertheless, both gens do pop, so it will be 4K1 as it currently stands at three survivors at the moment, 1 generator remaining. This is stock standard stuff. You know, you do have 1 injured, and if he finds N, this is like really problematic, but we're forcing the chase all the way into the bottom section of the map, and we've 99 the generator really baiting Sen, and he's fallen for the bait. Unfortunately, the masterclass coming in from Sakuda is going to be eating a tag and going all the way down to 7. Now he's going to want to run away as far as possible from the last generator being worked in the trial here. We are on this way for outs, but we do get a nice tag and a nice down on the side of Sen. Another pain resonance stack coming into effect. I don't think they get this gen done. They're playing way too greedy for it, and then the comms are not on point, unfortunately. Sen has gotten a lot of information from that 1 pain resonance hook now. He is taking the scenic route to get all the way over to 3, as I think that he thought that maybe Shaq was being done at that point, but we are going to be taking the kick onto 3 now, committing the chase back onto Royce, who's ran all the way to deep 12, and I do presume that N in the background would... Oh, I don't know if he's going to go for the unhook or if he's going to commit the gen. No, he has gone for the unhook here, playing it nice and safe, and they're going to play a lot more slower now. I think they're going to go for a little bit of a reset before they hop that ass back on that generator, and now Sen opting to leave. No, they're playing quite aggressive, actually. They're going for a 3 split. That's crazy. I mean, that kind of allows Royces to go all the way back down to 3, but Sen's going to be able to cut him off, as he has seen somebody in the background, and we've ran straight into the path of Royces too, who's going to have to go all the way back down to the top side of the map. The second win coming, clean break coming in as well. Going to take a tag onto N, who's going to be running all the way back down to the top side of the map once more. Has to be very careful. The follow-up dash is coming in. Sen's going to be getting that down. Knows he doesn't make the pallet because of the ping. That's mighty unfortunate stuff, and Sen is back into control of this match, but actually the generators are much more progressive than what I thought. Not after this pain res though.
And if you're just joining us, we are having our grand final right now. It is 1-1 to, that means it's a tie of course, but we're on our 3rd set right now. We are currently at 3 hooks right now, or taking our last chase. Sorry, we're currently at 6 hooks right now, I should say. We're taking our chase onto our 4th survivor, who is Royces, and we need to get what is sort of a good chase in right now. We need to last. We do jiggy 2 dashes. It's going to be 4 total dashes Duke now, and Sakuda has pulled N in the background, so not choosing to opt and sit on the gen, and unironically Sen's opting to leave this to go back to the gens, and he does have good gens. He kind of got gifted gens this game. He had the deep 6, the shallow 6, the 3, the 9, and the Shack, which is very holdable for a player of Sen's caliber. But I mean, choosing really one thing I love about Wesker sets is you can really get away with running any add-ons. There's a lot of variety. Sen choosing to go for what I believe was the Tendril and the gloves, which are... Tendril just gives you movement speed, quicker movement speed when you've got the whole, got the power, you know. I often like Tendril as well, but you know, it gives you the ability to hold your power out at loops and just sort of walk with it out. Very helpful. And the gloves as well, which obviously just gives him quicker dashing speed. He saw maybe a reset. I think maybe he's getting internal comms, maybe telling him to commit this chase. We saw this in the Blight set as well, where he was going to leave a chase and then quickly 180 back around. Maybe the second time today that he's been told to go back and just commit this chase, and he is choosing to get this down onto, I believe this is Sakuda, yes, and we've got one more pain res at our disposal. It is on Royces, the gen that they had so high at 80. It is dead, you could say, Hunter. But yeah, no, honestly, it is a great showcase from Sen and Lirasanmarine. It's looking a little bit more Sen-sided, which is very, very interesting to say. Not interesting, but very, very good to say on the side of Zetsubou at least.
Yeah, definitely. And now Sen really taking this match back into control at the moment. Has caught out Royces in the corner, knows it as well. Is going to be nodding. Now going to be taking this kick onto this generator over at this 9-sided, sorry, 3-sided of the map, rather. Now going all the way back down to where the unhook, the notification had happened, and now going to be following up the chase onto N, who's going to be forced to run all the way over into the bottom side of this map, and now vaulting the pallet here. Going to be running all the way down to 7, playing it very nice, playing the chase very nicely around his life there. But Sen's not going to opt to monkey chase it and go all the way back to Royces, where he could potentially get it down if he is careful enough. I mean, you got Eruption procced and there's generators in the background, and you really need to get this down before, you know, anything bad happens. And we have ran all the way into the corner. Nothing to really work with on the side of Royces. Is going to be going down corner 2. Nice and far away from that generator all the way over at 7. I don't think... Wait, shallow 6. I'm not too sure if we make that, especially if we pick up here. As Royces is fresh.
It's going to be close.
He is... It's very... No, he doesn't make... They don't make that, unfortunately. They need to get off the generator in 3, 2, 1 and hop back on it. Yeah. No, they're just playing too risky, unfortunately, and Sen's going to be able to make that generator. Just before it pops once more, I'm going to be electing to chase Sakuda, who's ran all the way over into corner 9. And now N's stuck in a predicament where does he go for the unhook or does he play for the gen and play for the 4K0? And he's playing for the 4K0 at the moment. We do have Sakuda running around this tile here over at mid 9. Going to be blinding Sakuda in the process. And now going to be running all the way... Sen in the process. Now going to be running all the way down into 9. Actually, I do think they get that gen pop now. I mean, that's really incredible work to realize what state of the game that they're in on the side of N. And now he's going to be able to make that unhook as well. Just the predicament is like, how do they get out of this scenario at the moment? I mean, you know, one quick down onto N and then the follow-up chase onto unhook survivor Royces, and you know, you're in for a world full of trouble. It's still 4K and 4K0, and you know, Zetsubou definitely well and capable of getting outs, and the hit take coming in from the side of Royces is going to be playing Peepo fat, and unfortunately I'm not too sure if he makes his pallet. It's going to be going down. Yeah, he played a little bit too greedy there, a little bit too long, and Sen knew it. Sen knew his timing was counting in his head, you know. I mean, after what, 20k hours, you'd realize that after playing this game for so long, and I'd say 20k hours very loosely. I don't know if these numbers are like, but as I anticipated, it is going to be the 4K0, and my oh my, a brilliant performance put up by both teams. You know, to be able to get all generators done in a game like this is absolutely incredible on the side of Lirasanmarine, but for Sen to keep the pressure time and time again, you also got to applaud that, right?
Of course, it was, you know, I don't think he'll be too rapt with that he got outed. I think he would probably want to, you know, get that nice solid result of having that 4K1, maybe even 4K2 firm back. But no, he did get you know, 4Ks. Oh, sorry, he didn't get outed, so I should say they popped all the gens. I apologize. You know, he probably wanted that 4K1, like I said, more of a solidified.
It seemed to be all good. You know, big thumbs up, fingers crossed and all that. So, yeah, Jarms, what do you anticipate? What do you want to see?
Greatness, big muscles, greatness. Like, look, it's a very, very dear win con. On the side of they do have a lot to work with. You know, 11 stages. They need one stage out the door, which, for their standard of players, of course, you would agree that's very, very doable. I'm just in awe of how, you know, amazing the Sen played last game as well. We needed that from him. You needed a good performance. And now you need their survivors to pick up their performance because this set is favored in them. Arguably, the next one probably is too, but then the next two after that get a bit iffy. And yeah, I'll be completely honest. If we go down to 7 here, it'll be some of the greatest things I've ever seen. We actually do get a chase onto Sen, playing very aggressive these days. Well, poised on as well. Love to see that from the big muscles. But we are going to take a tag off the rip. I'm assuming he will haul his ass over to Shaq. I don't even think he makes it because we have gloves active. We do make it because of the balanced landing. We are still going to have to jiggy, I believe. No, we're going to clearly cut, make it easy as day. But yeah, nah, really beautiful stuff. And honestly, Hunter, yeah, it's quite remarkable that...
Uh-oh. Go Hans PC again.
Yeah, we've had a little bit of lag. Apologies for our viewers. It is a bit of bit windy down in the western parts of Australia, but
No,
we're
it's
going to
not.
a little dash around onto I believe this is onto Sorborealis, yeah, Sorborealis, whatever that means. But yeah, no, Sentry not going to get that down there. We are going to mind game Sen on a short side of the crane here, which you don't really see often, Buller, and no pain res at our disposal. He'd be kicking himself. That is diabolical that we have to hook him 5 here. We do have access to the Pop Goes the Weasel, which I would argue maybe is probably a better choice in this situation. Just because Wesker can get quicker downs, you know, can close distance quite easily, especially when you compare it with Brutal. You know, we're just going to kick these resources, drop them. We do pop 9 and we are going to pull in the background. Bit of an early pull on the side of Zetsubou. I guess it's not too early considering the fact that they do have 11 stages to work with here, or another 10 stages, I should say, to work with here. But yeah, we need to have a good chase on the side of Sen. I believe he was the balanced landing player, so I'm thinking he's just going to camp Crane here to get his balanced used. No, he's got no scratch marks at the moment. I'm not too sure what value he's getting from his perks here, but he has nothing right now. I believe this might be Poised, maybe. I'm not sure if Poised got a super mega buff, but now his scratch marks are finally back, and we are going to be able to regain sort of, you know, comprehension, you know, maybe Sentry was a little bit disorientated, a little bit better now on the side of that. But yeah, I mean, we have Medallion. Oh, we are going to jiggy that on the short side of the wall there. We do have Medallion at our disposal. Not sure why we didn't vote that on the side of Sen. Bit of a micro misplay there on the side. Yeah, like something on the side of Sen. They don't really see that either, to be completely honest. And we are going to get a pain res. And we're at a really, really awkward point in the game now, because we need to be able to, and that's actually on cue there, that's Medallion sort of hindering Sentry there. The Medallion increasing the length of the first dash, but makes the second one very short. And we do get a slight little tag onto Canna. That was probably around the wall on his screen, I could only imagine. I believe Canna is actually the one on the lowest ping in this matchup of the survivors, which is, you know,
105,
probably
yeah.
refreshing to him. Yeah, 105 probably, you know, as opposed to 150 would be very, very appealing, refreshing, you could even say, Buller. But yeah, I don't know, really, really standard stuff right now. We're at a stalemate. I believe Let's Lirasan got to their 3v1 when there was 1 gen left. Right now, it looks like they're going to have to go through this at 2 gens, Zetsubou this is. It's looking tough, Buller. It's looking tough because Sentry has really good gens right now. He has pretty much a 4 gen. Whether you want to consider that 3 gen at the 5, we're coming for a 2-man save. We have to make this happen now. And oh my lord, this is so risky. We're giving up 2 tags here for a pawn to send. He needs to last. He does have balance, so this will give him a bit of distance. And honestly, Corey, this could spell a bit of drama if we're not able to do anything here. We have to jiggy this. We cancel the power, but we're not going to make it. This is so bad, Buller.
Whopper. Yeah, no, not what you need. I mean, that's sent out of the game now, and I don't think they have enough gen pressure to, you know, get that last another generator done. They need 2 done, you know, to at least bring it back to, like, yeah, that's still not even the Tycon if they get 2 gens done. They need outs. It's not looking like outs at the moment, unfortunately. I mean, everything just kind of falling apart for Zetsubou. So Sentry now going to be looking around this top side of the map here, going to be taking that kick by the Pop Eruption. No, not Pop, there's no Eruption, the Pop Brutal, sorry. And that's
oh my lord!
Oh wait, what? What the hell? Why is he in the locker edge map? Wait, what's happened there? My god. Okay, so we've tried to sprint burst away after exiting the locker, and we've just died into the open of 3. Nobody on a generator, and that's like next to a generator that had been worked at the moment. That is a complete blunder on the side of Backy. Canalave healthy, Silly healthy though, so you have 2 survivors that are healthy at the moment, but they need to go on chases that we've probably never seen before on the Wreckers Yard in terms of Wesker events. So Canalave really stealthing preemptively for that pool. Is going to have to snipe it and snipe it quick. And Sentry knows this. He's got this nice vantage point where he just has eyes on so many generators on the top side of the map, you know. Oh my god, and we found Silly just camping the Power Gym as well. Do we opt to chase this? We can. We can afford to do it on the side of Sentry, but we're playing safe. We're going back to our 3 gen. Oh my god, look at these generators as well. He has Shaq, he has mid 12, and he has 2. That's crazy work. I mean, now we're going to be committing the chase back onto Backy. He's running all the way down into the 5 section of the map now. pre-dropping this pallet, trying to get the beamer blind, but unfortunately not quite working out in his favor and going to be running around the long side of this loop now. Got to be careful not to get caught out. Doing a nice little bit of jiggy there. He's going to be able to make 6. Very, very lucky to be able to skate away from that untouched, but now we've rotated all the way. We've kind of hesitated to go to 7, and we've played the mind game very correctly, and when we're just sending it all the way into the corner, trying to get Canna and Silly as much generator progress as possible. Do you have this nice little edge map palette, but unfortunately not going to be able to do much with it on ping, and the fact that it's just such a weak tile on off ping as well. Canalave going to preemptively go for the stealth once more. This is a pain resonance hook. This is going to slow down the game a little bit on the side of our survivors. And Silly's going to have to jump off his generator right about now. I don't even think that he did. I think I heard a scream in the background, unless that my ears are smashed and damaged. But nevertheless, look. I just want to put some light on, look at that damn hill. Look, it's just smack bang in the middle. You have 12, you had short 12, you have 2, and you have Shaq. I just don't see a world where they're going to get generators done at a point in time like this, unfortunately. Now we're going to be able to pop goes the weasel on this generator over and deep 12. I'm going to go back to mid 12 here. In all honesty, I think that he's just going to commit the chase all the way over at the bottom side of the map, as he knows that, you know, that generator over in the background isn't going to be getting done anytime soon. And I think he has full faith and full knowledge that he's going to be able to get it down just before any progress really happens to be enough to be a detriment. Sorry, and now really struggling to find our tunnel out back here. We hear him, I think, but he's just kind of stealth at 7. Plus points to Backy, really redeeming himself for the unfortunate mishaps over at 3. Did make somewhat of a decent death location, all things considered, but nevertheless, going to go all the way back down to 2 and spot our Canalave on the side of Sentry here. Now, Canalave is running all the way into where the gens are. This is not where you want to be. As soon as you get tagged, you need to be out of here and out of here quick. Going to be not even dodging, just going to be sending it and working out in our favor on the side of Canna. Is going to allow him to run all the way down to the 3 side of the map now. It does have the T to work with, and he's going to have to do a little bit of jiggy, but trying to bait the window. Sentry not falling for it, has read that perfectly. Some very nice patience on the side of him. Now we're going to be slamming Canalave into the T-wall, and he's going to be running all the way down to 5. This is drop pallet, but he has the potential to go down very quickly if he's not careful. He's going to be playing this pallet very nicely. Very good for what it's worth at the moment. Getting caught out on the tiles, but oh my god, he is so lucky he is not on 150 or 160 MS, because I think he would have been going down there. And now going to be greeting this pallet, or trying to, the very least, but going down ultimately in the end. He is pain resistable as well. Silly working a generator that is 50% at the moment, and once again, it's rinse repeat. We are back to square one, and Silly just failing to recognize the comm coming in from Canalave. Not too sure if it's ping there or just not attentiveness to the communications. Maybe there's something in the VC happening that we don't know. But now the chase going on back onto Backy here, who's going to be running around this little short trash loop here. Going to be taking the M1 and being forced to run all the way over into 11 here. Going to be playing this nice little new tile here. This is very detrimental for the Wesker. It is a very long wall at the moment, and Silly is going to go for the pull here, as we do need that to happen, and it needs to happen quick, as we do have no gen pressure at the moment. We are allowed to chase this on the side of our killer Sentry here. Backy playing very patiently amongst his pallet, trying to get a little bit of a ping swing on the side of Sentry, and now Backy walking, still got Spirit Burst in hand. It has been 99, but he's forced edge map here. What can he do? Now, he is using the Sprint Burst here. Going to be able to make 11. Going to be able to make the window too. Almost won the window, but won the spin. And unfortunately going to be going down. And that's Backy out of the trial with 2 generators remaining. I think Lirasanmarine take this set here, Johns. I can't lie.
I mean, it's a dominating performance, and it's going to put a lot of fear into the hearts of Zetsubou. And to be completely honest, it should, because Lirasanmarine are not a team to mess around with. They are some of China's best players, and it's, you know, pretty clear cut to me why they made the grand finals. And if you're scared this season, without revealing too much, you should be even more scared next season, to be completely honest with you. But that's neither here or there, of course. But in my opinion, Hunter, yeah, like I said, humbly, of course, this is a domination on the side of Century. This is back-to-back 4K2s, and Zetsubou look shaken. They look weak right now. Honestly, there's no player on that team that looks like they know what they're doing. And respectfully, of course, I don't mean that in a harsh way. Sentry just looks like they're outplaying them to the core right now. Sen's not having that Sen effect, of course. Backy's made a lot of fumbles. You see Silly here essentially just getting two-tapped, unfortunately. I hate to say it, the great man himself. And we're kind of leaving everybody in positions where we have to play catch up. Backy's been found a couple of times. We pulled early on multiple occasions, and 4K2
Oh,
is gonna spell the end of it all. And I don't think that this was written up on the drawing board by Zetsubou this morning. I think maybe they came in maybe a little breezy 4-1, 4-2. We're still on track for that 4-2, of course, but that's going to be two.
the Sakuda right off the rip. We have been lied to. Nevertheless, I'm pretty sure that he'll be able to put up some fantastic results. It's Canalave, Sen, Silly, and we're not too sure who the other survivor was. I do believe it is Backy. Yeah, our referees haven't filled out the boxes correctly, but nevertheless, we are moving on into the match. Sakuda going to be spawning all the way over at this 11 side of the map now, doing his rounds check here. There's no, oh my god, there's no generators over at this side of the map. My god, are they all on the other right-hand side of the map? We do have one over at 6. We do have that 3 gen over at the top side of the map. So I think they might be in a little bit of a cluster, if I'm not mistaken. Now, Sen rotating all the way to the top side. Backy kind of caught out just at a pallet here, trying to really collect and gather around his surroundings. And now Sakuda going straight back to the totem and trying to force chase onto a survivor on this bottom side. I do believe that is Silly, if I'm not mistaken, and it is. And we saw what he was capable of doing when versing a Billy straight off the rip in the group stage. He's going to be running around the shack. That crouch tech is dirty. There's no way that man just did that. Electing to greed the pallet after not quite making it. Some very nice stuff to be able to take the tag and run all the way down to corner 7. Sakuda wants none of that. He's going to take the tag and leave and go for something a little bit more favorable. We do see some scratch marks leading all the way into corner 11. Once more playing around this jungle gym here is Senary, and he wants to be able to make sure he's able to last in this chase and put up a better performance than we did last set. They really need to... This will really be good if they win this set, because it'll pull the series back into their stretch where they can actually potentially still win. It becomes a little bit harder if they let this one slip. So nevertheless, going to be still counteracting the work of Sakuda, who's going to opt to break this pallet now and continue on the chase all the way over this 9 side of the map. The blue saw a little bit in my face at the moment, so it's a little bit hard to see if he's able to get the flick onto Sen. And he's just, whoa, look at this breakaway. Look at the crouch, man. And he's able to make the pallet too. It's going to force another M1 onto Sen here. Silly healed in the background as well, playing check spots very nicely. The window coming in, and I do believe our referee is not muted at the moment, and now is still committing the chase onto Sen here, pre-dropping that pallet and running all the way down to 6. This is made for a very lengthy chase, and exactly what you need on the side of Zetsubou to pull this set into your favor and try to pull back the series. Sakuda really struggling at the moment, and this is another very strong tile against the Billy, especially when you're pre-dropping the pallet exactly textbook style like Sen's doing. Going to be forced to break that once more, and he's just going to have to chase Shack now. Doesn't really have a choice, and Sen opting not to use the Shack or break line of sight at all. Going to be playing around the tile once more, and some unorthodox pathing is going to allow him to make all the way down into the pallet. Don't worry, Sakuda. Even I thought he was going back to the shack here, and now Sen is just this is just really put him back on his feet right now. Pre-dropping that pallet in the middle, pre-dropping the pallet here over corner 5. The ruin in the background gone now, so we have to use Pentamento at some point in the trial. We do still have access to Bam, but that's about it as it currently stands. Sen winning all these 50s. Oh, he's going to be able to make the 3 tile as well. Ladies and gentlemen, your previous MVP of last season is putting on an absolute performance right now. The swing into thin air on the side of Sakuda is making things all worse in the fucking fake too. That's absolutely crazy. Going to be going down, unfortunately, but that will be 1 gen pop, maybe a 2nd gen pop, maybe a 3rd gen pop if we're not careful. If we can get a quick switch around to what the survivors are doing before we put them on the hook. No, don't do it now. Oh my god. All right, we do have 1 more generator. That's main done too. That breaks up everything. That's crazy that they're able to get that done. Absolutely crazy, especially with the chase so damn close to that generator. Going to be committing chase back onto Silly here, who has this nice pallet. We know what he's capable of doing on this pallet here, as we would have seen him in the group stage versus JD. Now, what can he potentially pull out the hat? So I'm going to opt to greet it and go all the way down to the broken bus over at deep 12. Now greeting the pallet, dropping the pallet here, but greeting the window. I think Sakuda kind of has to drop this chase. I can't lie. He's just going to be winning the 50s here. Yeah, he's a little too smart to be able to fall into the grasp of Sakuda. Silly, playing absolutely incredible right now. He's going to be pre-dropping this pallet. Not really able to make as much distance as he would have liked. Actually, no, he makes the pallet. Nevertheless, I'm talking absolute bullshit. Going to be pre-dropping that too, but we're running out of resources in this area. So it's I think we're going to be going down very imminently. Yeah, and like clockwork, it does happen. Going to be taking that hook onto Silly here. That's going to be our second stage as it currently stands. 2 stages, 1 fresh regenerators remaining in the trial. We do see somebody in the far distance working this 1 generator. Have they made enough distance to completely escape the chase? It is Sen here is going to be pre-dropping that pallet as soon as possible. Now getting zoned into the 12 section of the map once more. Doesn't have anything in this facility other than a bus window. And, you know, he's going to be forced to use this. Sakuda playing very patiently among the chainsaw, but not patient enough on the side. Well, Sen should have just vaulted the window, in all honesty. We do see a generator proc in the background. I know what he's going for. He's going for a little bit of an elevation tech if he could have, and, you know, crouch tech, whatnot, but unfortunately not quite working out. We do have the background pull happening on the side of Canna. Silly back in the game. Sen out of the game as it currently stands, and we're just really struggling to look for that stealthing survivor for the unhook. Has rotated all the way to mid-12 as well, and we haven't caught sight of him on the side of Sakuda. Maybe we have. Not too sure. Scratch marks aren't there anymore, and Canalave is just rotated around the other side of the map. And now we have this very nice vantage point where we're opting to chase Baki, who's now the balanced player as to opposed of Sen, as he would have seen in the Mastermind set. Going to be rotating around the long side of this jungle gym. Now, we do have another Carford. This is some very nice RNG, I must, if I do say so myself, especially over at the top side of the map for what it's worth. And all things considered, they've played very well around their RNG. Bam's still in effect at the moment, unfortunately, on the side of Baki. He is able to maybe make the window. Oh, we've jiggied around, and it doesn't even matter. Medium Vault coming in, forcing the M1. No, we haven't taken it on the side of Sakuda. Going to opt to vault the window instead. I don't think there's a pallet to be used here on the side of Baki, so he's just going to be going down. But if we're not careful on the side of Sakuda, we're not going to be able to get the down. We do manage to get it. You know, Baki not quite able to make the Z-wall on the corner, but I mean, for what it's worth, this is still a very good match put up for the survivors. Exactly what you need to get back in the series, Jumps.
This isn't even really a bad result from Kitty, considering how well the survivors on Zetsubou are playing. He needs to find Canalave and probably commit him. If he finds Sen and kills him now, in the game, of course, it would be really, really ideal. I don't think he's got him. We find Canalave, though, which is just probably our second best option. Unless we hit the Jiggy stealth again for what seems to be the second time this trial. We just saw him. He doesn't even have fixated. We choose to go back now. So brilliance being shown from Canalave there. Being able to avoid any interaction with the killer at all, which in this day and age seems like a bit of a struggle for any team that's not really a top, 4 or 5 team. We get the smash hit there off onto Sen. This is going to be his very last chase. All these gens are going to pop. It doesn't matter. We need to get this down now. We need to hook and we need to find Canalave, and it's not going to happen all in time. We're just going to be getting the 4 stages. It looks like maybe 5 if Sen dies here, which I'm pretty sure he will. This filler is still here as well. We have so many fillers. We're leaving. We need to find anyone that's not Sennery, to be completely honest with you.
Canna has Deliverance in his back pocket, so even if he hooks Canna at the moment, he still has the potential to get out. Oh, go on. No, not like this, please. Okay, so we do get the down onto Baki here. And we are back. Unfortunately, there was some problems here. I'm not too sure if that's the internet or the game or the PC of our streamer, unfortunately. We might have to check in with the survivor. I don't think there's anything wrong with the game in terms of their game, but nevertheless, got to be crouch teching that on the side of Canalave. And remember, yes, like we said before, he does have Deliverance in the back pocket. Sen trying to take the body block, unfortunately, not quite working out in his favor. Is going to be forced out the door if he's... actually, he's ran all the way down to the pallet here. And I don't even, he makes that? That's crazy. If we can potentially get a rotate back onto our killer to see what exactly is happening in the trial at the moment, maybe we can get a gist of what the plan of action is here. If we hook Canalave directly in front of this hook, I don't think we can really pick at the moment. We do have to take that M1. We can... Wait, no, hang on a second. This is if we picked up Sen, I would have yeah, I don't know what I would have done. But nevertheless, they are hooking a little bit further away from the exit gate. Still relatively close for Canalave to make the gate. No, actually, Sakuda knows it. He's going to be hooking him over at 12. But this gate is close too! Oh, no. Not exactly what you want on the side of Sakuda. And he knows this Deliverance is coming in hot. One thing I really wanted to note in this trial is that there was no Mither brought in. They just didn't need it, I don't think. They were really confident in the fact that, they didn't need any anti-slug. So, Yeah, it's not something that I really caught on to until like midway through where I'm going, who's the no mither? Nobody. But nevertheless, Sakuda playing very safe amongst the hook of Counterlave. Now, when he unhooks himself, I'm not too sure what exhaustion he has access to, but I'm not too sure. Is it sprint burst? Ooh, so he can potentially make any gate that he wants realistically. Has to go for a drop off on the backside of this hill if he is to make that gate over at 11, or he can just kind of utilize the downwards ramp over into the 9 section of the map where the 9 gate is. But I mean, I'm really intrigued to see what he does here. I mean, in all honesty, Sakuda still kind of does have the upper hand. It just really depends on what the survivors can do in a time like this. I think Sen's going to try to take the down to make sure that Canalave escapes with the extra stages, and that's exactly what's happening at the moment. Is he Peepo Fat, or have we completely gone past Sen? No, he is Peepo Fat, and we're downing Sen, and we're forced to take the last stage onto Sen. So, I mean, what is that? That's 7 stages, if I do recall correct. 6 stages? No, 6 stages, right? I'm not going to say 6-7 again. If I say 6-7 again, a bad thing's going to happen. No, yeah, 6-4, okay.
Sorry, best one M1 killer in the world. Survivor could be a bit more debatable. I would definitely argue for it, but Killer, I think he takes the cake home. Just done it for so long. Best movement, other than the fact that he gives me content for the shorts every week, he's always someone that is relied on. And I think that back in the day when these boys all linked up, I think that he personally gave them a lot of longevity, durability as a team, just based off how amazing he is at the game. I'll stop the Sen glaze, of course. Let's just get straight into it, Buller. You know how it goes. We'll see if he snipes somebody. You predicted he will. Let's see if he does find someone off the roof.
Nah, not today, not today. I mean, he didn't even find anyone off just the normal chainsaw. I mean, it's still... Oh, wait, he did... No, I'm lying. He did. He found Roses. He found Roses. And now Roses is going to have to go on a chase over at this corner 5. And, he's on the wrong side of the pallet. Sen going to try and flick the rock as well if he doesn't opt to leave this on the side of Roses. Oh, my God. He crouch tech the little tree. That's crazy. He is, again, running to the wrong side. Oh, my God. It just doesn't get any better. It doesn't get any better. I told you, it's just it's a series of up and down. And right now, you're seeing the up, ladies and gentlemen. He's just downed Royce's right at that pallet. And now rotating all the way back over to 3. Going to have this nice hook, this nice vantage point to see what his next plan of action is. And do have a generator over at the 9 to 10 side, maybe 2 over at that 6 and 7. And even Shaq as well. Does have this nice bottom 3 generator though, bottom 3 gen. Again, just looking for the next victim. I'm gonna opt to go back to the unhook and just continue on the chase onto the tunnel out. I do believe Royce is going to be in chase very soon, but Real God, important to note is the no mither as well. You have a no mither for anti-slug, and I don't think it's quite really needed on the side of Sen. I don't think he's going to be do too much slugging, especially if he's getting quick downs like this. My God, you really hope that Royces is decisive strike at a point in time like this, just saving his dead hard and stuff. 3, 2, 1. No decisive strike. Is the light? They tried playing Lithe. I mean, maybe just wasn't the play. Who knows? But gotta be going back on that hook and, resetting the tunnel out once more. Not the chase that you want in a point in time like this, and just really putting on the dominant performance at the moment because, one generator hasn't even popped and all of a sudden he's got someone almost on death. He's got someone on death hook. So going to be pre-jumping this pallet on the side of N. Going to be running all the way back down to 9 bus. Going to elect to just run away from that. I don't think there's... Is there a pallet inside? Yeah, there's a pallet inside this. I'm smashed. But nevertheless, it's going to be crouching the front of the bus and ultimately going down after dropping the pallet. Unfortunately, not really much to work with here. Very weak tile. But Sen just going to capitalize on that, go all the way back down to where the unhook has been anticipated to happen. Do have some generator progress in the background over at that 9 side. So we do have Shaq almost done. It is Ruin taking into effect as well. This is the perks of Ruin if it's not destroyed. These survivors forced to really hop off this generator. Yeah, I think Sen just camps this out now. He says goodbye to 2 generators, and then all of a sudden he's looking at a 3v1 of 3 generators remaining. So he's in a box seat at the moment. They really need to get this unhooked, but I just think they're a little too far away if we saw where they were and still there. But nevertheless, Sen's opted to leave this and go all the way back down to 12. And this is room for an unhook here if there's someone stealthing around that vicinity. But unfortunately, not the case. Royces will be getting sent up into the skies, into the heavens. And now we're going to be continuing on chase onto Sentry here, who, if it's not careful, might be able to go down very quickly here. Got to be greeting that pallet very nicely and still lasting a long time in his chase. Is he going to make another loop? He is, but he's been mind-gamed, and Sen, unfortunately, colliding with the wall there, the corner of the wall, and Sentry is going to be breaking away, trying to make as far to 3 as possible. No, he's stayed at the little half wall. Very dangerous plays there, especially if Sen was able to curve that, but unfortunately not quite able to do so. Going to be pre-dropping this pallet and still playing around it. Sen trying to play the mind games there, doing a little bit of moonwalks, then breaking the pallet straight after, following up, but rotating all the way back down to the map once more, and we do have access to this mid-12 pallet. We're going to have to greet it a little bit, and we've given pallet possession to Sen. This makes it flickable, but we're able to crouch that as well on the side of Sentry, and he's going to be slapping the pallet in Sen's face and making the 12 crane as well. See that there's 2 generators in the background being progressed. We are cut off from the pallet on the side of Sentry. We're going to be going down, unfortunately. This is going to be another hook onto our survivors here. We're going to... Actually, never mind. We're slugging... Wait, Real God has DC'd. No! Yeah. And we're past the generator. I didn't realize. This is just the 4K4. That's mighty unfortunate. As per rule set, you know, we're well past 90 seconds. We're well past the first gen pop. What's done is done. And, you know, unfortunately, you really want to be honing down on your internet connection, making sure that's all done. And that's not, you know, screwing up or anything of the sort, making sure your game's all up to date and whatnot. Sometimes it's the unfortunate events of, like, you lose someone in a trial and there's nothing you can really do about it, you know? If we were like restarting this on the premise of, yeah, we've lost like a generator and he's already got a couple hooks on the board, got his tunnel out early, it just wouldn't be fair to Sen. But nevertheless, all remaining stages will be going to Sen. We do have End left in the trial, who's our only survivor. Sentry still on the floor, picking himself up. I'm not too sure if that was an unbreak of some sort. Now Sprint Burst coming into effect and running all the way back down to the pallet. Going to be vaulting in and out of this, but nevertheless, I think you got to take this one, Joms. In all honesty, I got to sort this out.
Yeah, I think, you know, a bit unlucky on the side of, you know, Micro. Nice little crouch. Sorry, on the side of Real God, I should say. Nice little crouch on the Sentry. Definitely looking like the best player by far during these finals, apart from Big Sen, of course. But yeah, I mean, a bit unfortunate to get a DC past the 90 seconds, of course. Of course, it doesn't really instigate for a restart, unfortunately. But, you know, we did have a lot of gen pressure. We did have good gen pressure when Real God was still in the trial. But, yeah, it's a bit unfortunate. So, I think it'll most likely just be 2-2, which, if that is the case, you know, that's such a blow to take. Because Lirasanmarine have, you know, I mean, I guess the bright side is they know that they didn't technically lose because they got outplayed. I guess they'll probably look at it like that. Which, you know, if you have to, you know, cop the 2-2 here and cop the Billy loss, like they said on the Billy, the loss on the Billy set, I should say, which I do think is what will be, you know, the case. At least, you know, you can sort of, you know, acknowledge the fact that it wasn't because, you know, you got, you know, mechanically outplayed or macro outplayed or just outplayed in general. It was, you know, sheer unluck, and, you know, you have 3, you know, the last 2 out of the last 3 sets are arguably in Lirasanmarine's favor, maybe even all 3 if you really want to argue about it. But we are going to find Sentry at Shack. Probably just going to be the 4K4 on the side of Sen. Pretty underwhelming. Of course, he played very well. Had quick downs, you know, for when it was the 4v4, 4v1. But yeah, pretty tough on him to be able to, you know, get this. You know, 4K3 is just going to be the result. So yeah, 2-2. I guess, you know, for hindsight's sake, just for clarity, we should go to a brief intermission. Zetsubou, in all fairness, have declined, so we are going to be going to 2-2. And that is by their prerogative. So best thing we can do is get straight on into this Demogorgon set, and we've got Sen, who's probably feeling really good about himself after, you know, getting that, you know, Hillbilly set under his belt, as well as that Blight that he had before. He's played all killers today. I think he's going to play every single one because they all cater to him. I think Baki will probably play the nurse in the end, but other than that, it's all Sen. We are going to be seeing the M1 showcase, and that was just a lovely first shred to start us off, and we're not even going to be able to make Shaq there off that first tag, Corey. We're not even looking behind us. Microbug, we need to have a geese around. We're asking for a hit from Royces, so that's probably why we're just hauling ass down to Shaq. And to completely honest, that's quite a good start for Sen, to be honest with you, Big Muscles, because I feel like Demogorgon against like mid-tier to low-tier teams is a very, very 4Kable set. No exhaust, you know, 2-tap potential on demo is pretty high, especially when you lose people like Sentry who can hit stuff like that around the corner. And unfortunately, Sentry's going to get hooked in the gens. He didn't want to get Micro to, sorry, they didn't want Real God to get hooked in. So hooked on that deep, sorry, that mid 12 pain raise. Actually going to get the deep 7 gen before the pain raise comes through Hunter. So pretty good stuff. Now this is the one set, I will say this, Bullet, before I throw it off to you. This is the one set that could literally be 50-50. Every other set sort of has a definitive, you know, back and forth. You can kind of, you know, favor it to one side. This probably the one set where it could go either way. This one, and definitely the Doctor set. I would argue this one though, as we're catching N out here, just trying to crouch on the pallet. Very, very awkward stuff there. We are going to get the pull. Very, very good consistency from Lirasanmarine. Every time they take a tag, they pull. If they rarely take a tag as well, which is a good thing. So they're always set up for, you know, the worst and best situation, which is something I love. They're always trying to make the best play at the time, which is something that I was, you know, essentially, you know, taught how to play, which is, you know, obviously just lovely to see. His movement is so beautiful, but and Royce is, I mean, the Rising Star just has no chance against the former MVP. It's quite a mismatch right now with the ping battle coming into effect. I have to admit, the chases are, like I said, they're not really going to be long, especially with no exhaust. Take into a factor on 180 as well. That's probably even more annoying. So demo could go either way. It just comes down to who has the better mechanical ability on, you know, the killer and the survivor, in my hot, cold, beautiful heart opinion. And honestly, if you're going toe-to-toe with Sen on M1, you know, M1 movement and, you know, M1 just overall play, it's not really going to, you know, be a tough shout. Especially on the side of Sen. Like I said, he's a great survivor, great killer, great M1 player. Lirasanmarine are gonna really have to rely on their big guns this one. You know, the Sentries of the world, the Micros, the Sakudas, the Royces. They're all gonna need to perform here because we're at a bit of a, I want to say a stalemate per se, but kind of just on the back foot right now. You know, they need to win this set. If they lose this set and get a bad result, so you know, the mental's gonna be in the gutter. You're gonna go back down to 3-2, and to be completely honest, that is a bad thing for Lirasanmarine no matter how you look at it.
Yeah, definitely. And no exhaustions of the Demogorgon being into tier 5. I mean, it's going to be pretty hard to play overall on ping. And unfortunately, we are not getting the body blocks in that we need. And the FTP was all in vain. That is not the play that you want on the side of our survivors. Do have another generator in the background procking though, but this will be Royce's out of the game. He's just had not the best match, unfortunately. And now and just, you know, in the broken state via the FTP for another couple of seconds. And we're going to be going back over to Sakuda, who's our only healthy survivor in the trial at the moment. So mighty unfortunate stuff if we're going to be eating a tag here, and we'll be in big trouble, team. I mean, maybe N goes for a reset onto Real God at the moment. We're able to delay the tag just a little bit on the side of Sakuda, but unfortunately getting hit there just before making that pallet over at 8. Oh my God, that was good from the side of Sen. A very nice shred to down Sakuda and take this next hook on to Lirasanmarine at the moment. And this is going to be a pain risk as well, Joms. It's going to really eat away at that generator over it too. That is our most progressed generator, I assume is our most progressed generator. 3 generators remaining. This is looking like 4K2 territory. They can fight for an extra generator here, but you have 1 injured, 1 healthy, so probably the only best idea is for maybe N to be working that generator all the way over at 7. They have done a reset though, so back in the game nice and early. Death spot location should be around 5, I would assume, over at this bottom side of the map, trying to prioritize that like top side of the map. And we do spot our N here, which means the reset was close by. I'm not too sure where Real God has gone at this point in time, but we're on chase here over at 5, faking the pallet very nicely. We're getting the tag still on the side of Sen, beautifully read by him. Now going to be following up the chase all the way to the deep 6 portion of the map, where we do have access to this nice little filler pallet outside the car and the tire junk as well, but we're getting caught out. Very slow reaction times on the side of N there. oh, mighty unfortunate stuff is now going to be picked up and slapped on a hook as well. Pain Resonance coming in once more. I mean, this is looking pretty dire for us survivors. Pretty dicey, if I do say so myself. We've teleported all the way back down to the top side of the map where we've interrupted the reset. Not just in time, unfortunately. Real God is on a full health state, but not for much longer. As Sen just really, really putting it on right now. He's not missing a shred. He's not missing a tag. He's keeping up the pressure. He's where he needs to be at all times. Like, I can't really fault this gameplay of him at the moment. He's just playing incredible. Very nice flicking mind games there. Got to be dodging that from the side of Real God, but unfortunately trying to make the pallet and, you know, trying to debate Sen just a little bit, you know, try to make him think that he went around the dumpster, but he saw him go all the way back down to the pallet as we never have really turned our camera to the dumpster side. But nevertheless, going to be taking a hook on to Real God. Yeah, we would have just sent it at that pallet, I think. But nevertheless, going all the way back down to where the unhook had happened. You know, one injured, one healthy once more. It's just rinse, repeat at the moment. It's looking like, in all honesty, I said 4K2, but if we're not able to have a good chase, Joms, this just might be the 4K3.
Yeah, it's a little bit demoralizing if you're Lirasanmarine. Yeah, I think everyone is probably in agreement that Sen probably would have achieved that win con last set regardless of the disconnect. I think that may be a fair statement to make, Hunter. I'm not too sure if you would agree or disagree with that. This one, it's tough. It's tough because, yeah, they're probably going to get 4K3. They get 4K2 at best here, in my opinion. He's still got a pain res in his back pocket. I don't actually know which survivor that is on at the moment, but I mean, yeah, it's tough. It's tough because no matter how you look at it, Sentry's gonna have to perform. That's who's gonna play killer for Lirasanmarine, of course. He's gonna have to perform. These chases just haven't been long enough, and like we were alluding to before, Hunter, we do catch a bit of distance though from Micro. Micro's actually having a really nice chase here for what it's worth. We're actually, this last thing, we do get the double vault there as well. So a bit of life being breathed back into the Lirasanmarine survival lineup right now. We do make this filler again. I'm not sure if Sen realizes he does have to kick this at some point. I mean, you're on the Demogorgon, you don't really have to kick this, but you probably should kick this at some point. We are going to choose to play the short side of this pallet, and this is where it gets scary because you see how the man slides off the rocks like his nose, bro. He's got like the world's most shaved off nose, I gotta be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I am in full agreement with you in terms of that, and that's the last pain res of the trial being used. So they're able to get some gen pressure without worrying about, you know, rocks happening on the other side of the map once this unhook happens. And, well, first of all, they actually need to get back on a generator. At the moment, Sen's is applying too much pressure for that to be the case, and now we're going to be pre-dropping the pallet on the side of Sakuda here, who's going to be forced into the corner of Deep 6. Going to be jiggying around the break too, making all the way down to 7. The camera flicks coming in, but there's not quite anything for him to work with. Going to be dodging the lunge as well, playing very nicely on the side of Sakuda, but unfortunately running out of stuff. Wait, Gentech? I'm not too sure what was happening there. Yeah, I'm in full agreement with you. I don't know what was happening there, but going to be pre-jumping this pallet nice and close to the hook, but we're opting to go for gen pressure on the side of N. Maybe a trade coming in on the side of Sakuda. No, we've opted to go all the way down to mid-9, and now we have this nice shack window to be used as well. So Sakuda's still in the try. I think we might just leave our Real God to die here and opt to go for gen pressure as we really want to solidify this 4K2 and not give away the 4K3 playing too risky. And now Sakuda crouch teching as well. Very nice from the side of him, not able to down on the side of Sen, and now trying to intercept the unhook happening at the very last second, but N's just completely left the generator for what, God knows what reason. We should be really just trying to make sure that generator in the background was done. We're taking another tag on the side of N. We've wrapped around on the side of Sakuda, but this will just be him going down, unfortunately, as we're not able to make that pallet, and we do not have enough distance created between us and the killer. We'll be going down just before the rock. So as soon as we hook Sakuda, we know that N is in the vicinity of the top side of the map if we haven't rotated all the way to the bottom side already. And that's exactly what he's doing. And this could be anticipated by Sen. He could just go straight to 9 to 7. And that's exactly what he's doing. He knows that. I don't think that N would just be sitting all the way over at corner 11. There's no real reason to. I mean, if we look at the exit gates here, we could play for an exit gate. It doesn't really mean much as, you know, generators do come first in a scoring system like this. I think N's just going to try and play for the pool and try to play for best possible result that he possibly can. Not too sure what the plan of action is. No, he is playing for an exit. He's playing for 9 exit gate at the moment, so he's just kind of sitting around that little wall there, and Sakuda trying to die as quickly as possible. Unfortunately, not quite coming in too quick, so We're going to be going back to the hook on the side of Sen, playing it very, very safely. I mean, and still just kind of stealth around that 9 section of the map. And as soon as the hatch is closed, I dare say he's going to be on that door as soon as possible. It is fairly close to 11 though, so you have these 2 doors. There's almost Seabass gates, and he might have line of sight on both of them. I'm not quite too sure. He might just have to, might just sit like corner 10 and might have like eyes on 9 and eyes on 11. So, nevertheless, Sen just going to be waiting for this last stage to happen onto Sakuda, and still got 2 stages in hand at the moment, and that'll make for a very awkward Tycon. But nevertheless, we're going to be rotating all the way down to the 9 side of the map once more, just before we kick the hatch, I guess. So, gotta be waiting for that. And still stealthing around that wall there. I just think, in all honesty, he gets found straight off the rip jumps. I don't really think that he makes this gate. Does have wake up in the back pocket as well, so if we do choose the wrong exit gate on the side of Sen, which can prove to be detrimental here, the bubbles aren't going away. We don't know if he's on the gate yet. Oh my god, he actually might make it out. No, okay, so he's opted to leave the gate. He just full had to send that with wake up, in all honesty. And yes, look at this Seabats gates kind of action. He has eyes on 9, eyes on 11. He doesn't have to move anywhere. This has just solidified the 4K2 for Sen.
I mean, 4K2 is always is still an immaculate result. It's not, you know, take what I'm saying with a grain of salt, of course, but it's not the most craziest result we've seen all season on Demogorgon. Demogorgon being, you know, low tier, doesn't have exhaust. You have to rely on a lot of mechanical ability, and you have to have good macro as well. It's not like Demo is completely, you know, and not to use like a really derogatory term, but it's not like it's a brain dead killer. You know what I mean? Oh my god, how is N still living? We do vault into the killer there, so we do, you know, try and go for a little cheeky field of view tech onto Scenery there, but it's not going to do much. And that's going to be the 4K2, like you said, Big Muscles. Yeah, as I was saying though, the mechanical ability just on one side of the field was just completely more there than the other side. And to be fair, the thing that Sen does have for him is the fact that
4K1 for the Serbs. A lot easier to meet this on the Survivor side. You know, obviously, if you're new to competitive, this isn't the kind of the win con that you would see on a Demogorgon set in terms of the Survivors and the killer. Realistically, this isn't the type of Tycon that you would see. You'd see something along the mid to high stages, but obviously with ping taken into account and the fact that there's no exhaustions to be working with, this is a much more harder set. So maybe the balance is to be revisited a little bit, because if you look in multiple different organizations, Demogorgon's always amongst the tier 4, tier 3 set. The only reason he's really in tier 5 at this point in time, I do believe, is because he is on the Wrecker's Yard, and Wrecker's Yard is just polluted with pallets, especially with the update that happened mid this season. So now you have those wacky edge map pallets that are happening over Deep 6 and Deep 12 that can really be utilized to full advantage if played correctly. And nevertheless, Sentry will be spawning on the short bottom side now, bottom 6. And we'll be placing portals over towards that mid 7 side now, doing his rounds check. We do spot somebody rotating all the way to 3. I do believe that is Silly, who's forcing chase at the moment. Does have somewhat the chase build. He does have access to urban evasion and resilience, as well as poised and open-handed. So nevertheless, we'll be using this pallet here very effectively. You know, it is a short filler as well. Very nice stuff from Silly. He's going to be able to rotate all the way down to 2, where he's going to be dropping this fairly strong pallet as well, but, you know, creating enough distance to go all the way down to 12. I'm not too sure what would be really in store for us here. We do have access to a jungle gym, and we want none of that on the side of Sentry. We've gotten rid of 2 resources, and we said that is enough. We are going straight back to where we had spawned and trying to catch somebody off guard over at 8, and it does seem to be Scenery, who's probably not much of a better chase at the moment, as he things can quickly spiral out of control when chasing him, as well as everybody else in Zetsubou, realistically, now that I think about it, and I'm talking absolute bullshit. But nevertheless, we'll be continue on chase from our killer onto Baki here over at this 10 tile, mid 10 tile, and it's a very nice tile. Might have to say so myself. My god, this new tile can prove to be pretty difficult sometimes to run as the killer, but nevertheless, do still have access to this jungle gym here over at mid 12, but we're opting to greed it on the side of Baki, but we've been caught out, vaulting into the loving embrace of Sentry, going to be eating a tag, and now opting to die all the way to 11 corner. Do we make it? I do believe we do, ever so slightly, and we're able to scathe away from that, and that's barely hitting the air behind our ass cheeks. Pre-dropping this pallet's tile is a lot weaker now that the window's open, my god, but getting a little bit lost in the sauce there on the side of Sentry, and Baki's just making for an extremely good death location. They are splitting 3 generators in the background there. We do have Silly on a 25% gen done, Canalave on an 80% generator done, and Senary on a 70% done generator. So some nice gen progression in the background. Does have access to Deja Vu as well, so that gen will be going even faster. We do have Pain Rest to slow down the game just a little bit, and they do anticipate it as Canalave hasn't popped his generator just yet. He has hopped off it, and it is short 6 at the moment, so nice and far away from that hook, far away from all the other generators, and much more outside the killer's way to go and interrupt. So nevertheless, going to go all the way back down to 7, where we're continuing on to chase on to Sen, who's just kind of ran into the rock here, as there is not really anything to be working with. He's running straight past the hook, doing a little bit of a drive-by, if you will, now vaulting the window and trying to jiggy away from the embrace of Sentry, but unfortunately getting hit. The generator procking in the background on the side of Canalave. We do make this filler on the side of Sen, and he's just going to W away from that beautifully. Create distance as opposed to playing the pallet. Some very nice stuff, because he could have got hit through ping. But nevertheless, Killer going back Sentry. Now taking the chase onto Baki once more, who's going to be rotating all the way to the mid-12 section, where we do have access to this pallet. He is going to be playing the patience game. Is he going to greet it, or he's going to drop it and trying to play the stun? Very dangerous to do on 160 MS. And all of a sudden, we are at the win condition for our Killer. We have to 4K as right now if we are to make this win condition, but I just don't think anything of the sort will be happening, Jarms.
Yeah, the tie condition probably a little bit more realistic, of course, bro, because, you know, we don't even have a tunnel out yet. You know, I think this is silly wrapping Sen's gen that he was on at the start initially. So that is, you know, going to get done. That's the 3 gens they were progressing at the start. Now, I'm not sure if they've done any other gens. Actually, Silly's on a completely different gen. I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. He is going to pop a different one. Yeah, and Silly's going to be on an all the way over somewhere else. I think that was maybe on 3, maybe, that had progress. I'm not too sure what gen Silly had that had progress on. You know, a bit disorientated. But we are going to catch Silly out. Speak of the devil. I'm not too sure what the play here is for Sentry, you know. You're in a grand final. You need to get a 4K2 right now. It's a bit of an awkward spot. Hasn't been able to use pop at all, because Sen's just been in his face, as well as Silly. And the problem is, Silly's just going to keep disrupting him now, because the other two are sitting across the map on gens, and 3-2 to Zetsubou sounds pretty nice to them if they're going into that Doctor set, because I know they're very comfortable on the Doctor. And yeah, it doesn't matter what happens from here on out. I think we're going to see one of these gens pop no matter what happens, because I know they're splitting Hunter, and all I can really say is just a better execution. Oh no, they are doubling. I apologize, but just a better execution of gameplay. Unless there's going to be pain race beforehand, it doesn't come through. So 3-2 Hunter. That's big. That is very big. That is, it's a bit demoralizing on the side of Lirasanmarine, considering how last time went. I have to be completely honest, Big Muscles.
No, 110%. The thing is they're doing the reverse sweep again. You know, Lirasanmarine were 2-1 ahead almost at half time, just about, and like now it's 3-2. So, I mean, granted, the fact that last set was just absolute shambles, but this set they definitely could have done a lot more. Unfortunately, not quite working out in their favor. And you know, now they have to really hone in on the Doctor set. It is their pick, so you know, hopefully they can win that, and we can go to the tiebreaker, and it can be an even closer chase, but sorry, a closer game, but. Series, whatever. I'm losing my words here. Nevertheless, we'll be taking that body block very nicely on the side of Sen onto Baki to keep him a little bit longer, preserve the life just a little bit longer. Going to be opting to go all the way down to edge map here and use this filler palette, but ultimately going to be going down imminently. As if we're actually living this. As if we get that stun and unzone ourselves into the middle of the map. That is absolutely crazy work from the side of Baki, the masterclass. Got to be going down, unfortunately, though, and I think he's going to get pain rest before that generator pops over at 3, unless we are triple splitting that, and I don't think we can because of the tree being in the way. Sent around for what seems to be a save of some sort, I'm not too sure. Going to be using the flashlight, though, and blinding our Killer, forcing Chase all the way over at 10, but he doesn't want anything of it. He's going to go all the way back down to 2. They pop that. He doesn't make that, unfortunately. I mean, you know, too fast. Not even any deja vu applied to that generator, just a whole lot of double and now going to be dropping that crack on the side of Canna. Going to be eating a tag and running all the way down to 3 section of the map. Now, probably opting to die as fast as he possibly as he can. Oh my god, that is absolutely crazy, Jiggy. And I know if my voice wasn't hurting so much, I would have been yelling into my microphone. But nevertheless, we'll be taking that down onto Canalave and taking the outs on the side of the rest of our survivors, Silly and Sen. You know, they've played a phenomenal game as well. So ultimately, if we do leave, that will be the death onto Canlave and probably around the 7 stages. I do believe 7 stage 3 fresh. We're nowhere near enough to win, unfortunately, for the start of Century, as we did need 4K3 to take this home. Very tall order, but, you know, you have to give credit where credit is due. He gave it his all. You know, didn't even play a bad game. Realistically, this is something more along the average as what you would expect. And, yeah, we're just going to be exiting the trial now on the side of Sen. But all things considered, still did enjoy this. It's
A couple times that they kind of run the Cold Tower. Cold Tower is their stomping ground. That's another fair statement to make. If anyone wants to disagree, I can show you about 3 or 4 different games where Lirasanmarine probably pissed on your favorite player. But overall, it really comes down to, like I said, map knowledge, mechanical ability, both on the survivor and the killer. And you know, I think these teams are both at a skill level of macro, which is pretty similar. I think that's a fair statement to make as well. Again, for the 3rd time. So 3 fair statements from Jams. There you go. Yeah, the skill level I don't think is too far apart from these teams in terms of game knowledge. So like I said, comes down to map knowledge, those little quirks in things, you know, like the Doctor, right? Who knows how to loop against the Doctor better? Who can chain tiles the best? Who gets the better RNG? You know, what these things matter in these type of sets, right? And we can already see that Saw Borealis, otherwise known as Sen, knows very, very nicely how to loop the Doctor, chaining these windows and pallets very, very nicely. And we're going to take a hit all the way down at the shack and probably get as much distance as we can. Now, my suspicion would be that there will be a second survivor here somewhere around, because the meta on Doctor in the early game is to always send a survivor to play. They're actually sitting back and saying, you know what, Big Muscles? Give him some loops, mate. We do not give a fruit biscuits. That is what's happening.
Yes, that is what's happening, and I'm not too sure if the stream's catching it, but nevertheless, we will be trying to hit Sen through that pallet, getting the stun as well on the side of Sentry here. I don't have to mute the VOD because apparently at the moment we had like 10 seconds delayed, but nevertheless, vaulting into the loving brace of Sentry, and we did not give a damn crackers, biscuits, and cheese about that, about Sentry's chase. Nevertheless, we'll be taking the hook, the pain res onto Sen. I don't even know if he gets this, unfortunately. Oh, no, he should. Yeah, it's very close. The pain res coming in onto Baki's generator. Now going to be rotating there on the side of Sentry, as we did hear the scream over towards that 10 side. Nevertheless, going to be opting to use the shock and then catch out. I do believe it was Baki who... Oh, no, that's Silly just holding the check spot here over at the 6 side, 7 side. Now going to be playing around these fillers here. No pallet to really work with that in that vicinity, but you know, Sentry is just going to opt to leave that and go back for his tunnel out onto Sen, who's rotated all the way back down to the shack. Now we got somebody playing with him, and I do believe it's Canalave. You know, that's someone who you usually send in for the pool, as he is the stealth god, but nevertheless, we do hear crying Nia in the corner of the shack, and now rotating around the front side here. Got to be careful of the lockers, as there could be a head-on of some sort as well, so keep that in mind. But Senri just going to be running around the corners once more. We've rotated to Baki for some reason, working a generator. I want to see the chase, Big Muscles, but we make this vault too. Not getting mind games though, which is really nice. Going to be able to make that as well. Going to be kicking the pallet and now rotating all the way back down to the 1 section of the map, and there was no one in the lockers setting up for head on. I lied to you guys. Here's 2 generators in the background ready to bust though, and if we're not careful, that's exactly what's going to happen. And Sen just making great work of this chase, and if he gets a body right now, we're in a world full of trouble. And look at this, as I say that, Baki just around the corner for the protection hit onto our killer. Really extending the chase at the moment. It's forced our killer Sentry to kind of just chase Baki now and just reset the tunnel out, unfortunately. He has to play for stages now. I don't think he can really play for the 4K. So all things considered, even though Sentry was really honed in on this set, and you know, it is his pick, just Zetsubou really putting on the show for the people in a way. And this is going to be a ping hit through the pallet if we don't stop running, but nevertheless, we'll be waving down and anticipating oh no, Canna's going to get the pallet save. That's crazy. Very nice stuff from Canna, and that's going to make it even harder for Sentry to get another down. He only has 1 stage at the moment.
Yeah, I think we have to leave this and play for our freshies now, which is super scary. I mean, pretty, you know, what's the word, standard stuff on the doctor. I'd say, having to make this decision. Usually you'd probably make it a little bit earlier in the trial. That pallet save was really, really bad. We have Kanash running in like a jockey right now. He's just going to play the
pallet for you.
drop. Beautiful stuff there for Baki. This is really, really exquisite stuff from our Zetsubou survivors. This is a strong set for them, as we can tell. I thought maybe they would lack a bit, being on Cold 2, not as familiar as, the other ones, but now they're proving to really be able to go, and Baki's just going forever and ever and ever, and this is only going to be 2 hooks once he goes down. So we need to get this down right now, because the gen's going to pop no matter what. This is problems. This is big problems. This is going to be 2 stages, 3 stages maximum.
4 stages at the moment if we get Baki from first to third dead.
Oh, they say.
I mean, in all honesty, nah, they leave with this. I don't think they save.
Oh, they don't.
There's just there's no reason to go back and save. That's that entire game plan. At the same time, it's fairly predictable, and I think Sen's going to know that. So he's going to try to cut them off. He's going to try some wacky mind games. He's going to force the error, as we like to put it. Loading in, though. I haven't had too much Doctor experience myself. Obviously, in terms of like games played, I do like to play all the other killers as to oppose of the C tier killers or the tier 5 killers, as we like to put it. But even I know that 3 stages is should be more so amongst the average. And what do you think we can expect from this game, Jarms? I haven't heard your thoughts. I'm just kind of blabbering out. I'll be completely honest.
Sen's killer, preferably on the Doctor, of course, is what we're going for. You're looking at a 4K too. I'm gonna call it right now. And that's no context, of course. You give a man this small of a map on on a killer that can control. It's kind of hidden pressure. He gets a little bit of a hit on there coming from, I believe that was Real God, I believe it was. And yeah, I mean, we need 3-4 good chases in this game to last. If this was some little old team, I'd say 4K2 on the side of Senri. I'm gonna stick with it, to be completely honest, which breaks my heart, because I really, I mean, I'm biased, of course. I'd really hope Lirasanmarine pushes to 7, and we get to see that dual nurse, those dual nurse games, because that'll be super fun to watch, because it could really go to anyone at that point. And we are going to make that vault on the side of Real God there. And you can see the M1 movement, Sen trying to force Real God all the way down here, and we do make this as well. We are going to get the stun to send to. I don't know if you're noticing, big man, but they're double. I don't know if that's a double or a triple. If that's a triple split, we are fucking on for this 4th stage. It's a double one. It's a double, which is still just as good, because they might be doubling at a must-needed mid-gen that they need to get out. We are going to see Real God finally die here, vaulting the pallet. Literally identical starts below to what we saw last game, and except I think the difference was Zetsubou 3 split instead of doubling. Wow. Yeah. We need a little bit more, though. We need a little bit more. That was one good chase. It was, good chase in a bit. Now we need a couple more of those. 2-3 more of those off the hook. If you're, I believe, is that Real God? Yeah, Real God. Who actually has been playing well today, Big Muscles.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we're going to have Pain Resonance slow down the game just ever so slightly now, and then we're going to go all the way back down to this 9 side of the map, where we're going to be greeting this pallet here and getting caught out on one of the active generators, unfortunately, for N. Going to be playing around the pallet very nicely, though. We've given up pallet possessions, so this should result in a tag if we play the cards correctly on the side of Sen. Greeting the pallet very nicely on the side of N, though, but unfortunately, like I had said just moments ago, we are going to be eating that tag and running all the way down to the 7 side of the map, where we don't really have access to the pallet per se, but this is the jungle gym with the window on the long side, rather, and unfortunately getting caught out. This is going to result in a down, and yeah, this is not what you need on the side of Lirasanmarine. You really need those longer chases. This is another hook and closer to the win con as well. The win con for Sen. You have 2-2. It's 2-2 at the moment, and you needed 4-2, if I do recall correctly. So all he has to really do is find another fresh hook, camp them out, and he's won the series. Sorry. won the set and won the series realistically. But I think he'll opt to go for more chases as he can't afford to do so with such a shallow win con. He has found somebody just kind of stealthing edge map 3 at the moment, and it does seem to be our Jake Sakuda who's running all the way down into corner 1 with the LNTs in place and vaulting the T into the L wall here. Going to be playing very nicely, leaving no scratch marks, and going to be getting caught out, unfortunately, via the check spots here, and Sen just opting to play the T with Sakuda, who's kind of been mind-gamed a little bit, but he does make this pallet here, but he doesn't get to drop it, unfortunately, via the shock from the Doctor, and we are playing the nice M1 flicks over at the opposite side of the pallet there on the side of Sen. He's going to follow up the chase, though. This is going to result in a tag once more as well. We're going to create as much distance as we can for the side of Sakuda. Going to be eating that tag there and running all the way down to the shack where we have access to shack pallet once more. But we have to play the shack very carefully here. So we have to last on the side of Sakuda if we're really to pull this match back into the favor of our survivors on Lirasanmarine. He is running the long side of the wall again once more. He has to be careful of the pallet here that he doesn't get shack teched. But actually, no, we don't have access to shack pallet because I'm smashed. But nevertheless, we do take it. Hit on the side of Royces. He is going to run all the way into the middle of the map once more where the pallet is still up, but he doesn't get to drop it. He has to kind of just run all the way down to the T as he is forced to do so. Sen not going to be making that swing, anything of the sort. We do have one generator done in the background at the moment as well. Royces is really going to have to play extremely careful here, playing the fakes very nicely. Has just W'd away to that pallet there. Wait, this is completely doable. We have to be very careful on the side of Zetsubou. My God, if Royces is able to last even longer with this setup over at the bottom side of the map, this could spell absolute trouble for our our killer here on the side of Zetsubou. Hang on a second. Wait, he's playing this pallet very nicely. He does. Wait, I thought he was going down. Okay, he's on the pallet. He's on the pallet. Is his room for a pallet save here? But Sen knows it. Going to be using the shock here. That's going to interrupt the survivors here on the double. Wait, hang on a second. So no, they have to pop that, and they have to get Royces out of the trial. Royces cannot die under any circumstance. We have spotted out one of our injured survivors at the moment. Sen, almost fumbling the bag there, was able to down Royces. If Royces just caught onto the fact that Sen hit the rock with the jitters and involved and stuff, I think he could have made enough distance to even last even longer, and they could have get the gen done and maybe the outs there. But, you know, a micro mistake there. Sen's going to capitalize on it, and that's what he does best. Going to take this hook here right in front of this most progressed generator. It is 3-3 as it currently stands. They cannot afford to give up any hook of the sort. Unfortunately, they are ahead on fresh hooks on the side of Zetsubou. At the moment, in an ideal world, you want these survivors that are left in the trial or healthy going for the unhook. I guess you just get the unhook onto Sakuda and hope that the survivor here, Royces, just lasts in chase for the longest time possible so you can get that generator done. He is just running around this pallet here. This is dangerous. I don't think he actually makes anything, unfortunately. Sen just playing it too good. Yeah, it's just too good to be true, unfortunately. And with that pickup onto Royces, unless there is a beam of some sort in play or a save as they get that generator done, even if we get the pain resonance hook, it doesn't really matter. It is Zetsubou taking away the grand final for the second time. Back-to-back grand finals where they reverse sweep. You can't make this shit up.
Pretty uncanny, I have to admit. 2 times in a row, like you said, Big Muscles, they've come back from the depths of the, you know, pretty much the bottom of the barrel. You know, it's hard, you know, finals being down 2-1, 3-1 last year as well, and you have to dig deep. There's some sort of, you know, concentration amongst that you need to get yourself into to be able to perform a great feat like that. But we've done it 2 times. Wasn't a fluke for anyone who thought it was. Unfortunately, that will spell the end of Lirasanmarine's, I guess, just tenure in this season. Unfortunately, that's going to be 4-2 below, and my prediction, I don't want to, you know, give myself too much glaze, but I did predict the 4-2. But Buller, did you want to reveal the, you know, our last, I guess you could say, award for the season?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, as you all know, well, those who are really early on the stream, there was the end of season awards. If you did miss it, you want to be looking back on that. It will be uploaded to the YouTube channel. It will still be here on the VOD. Unfortunately, I do think it'll be muted as there was some copyrighted music in there and whatever, like YouTube, Twitch likes to throw at us sometimes. I don't know if you're going to be able to view it, but it will be up on the YouTube later on tonight. There is one more award following those 6 awards that we had announced at the start of our stream, and that is the finals, well, the grand final MVP, the person who played the best on the day. Last season, it was Baki. You know, it could go either way. You could either choose Lirasanmarine or you could choose Zetsubou. But tonight, the MVP for the Season 4 Grand Final will be Sen Tennyson. Good stuff, big man.
And I think with that, Buller, it'll come to our close, at least for now. I mean, it would only be right if you took us out, concluding our Season 4, going into Season 5. But I will say on that note, since this is the last time you will hear my voice for at least a little bit until we get out of our break, stay safe, stay cool. Don't bully people because that's unfair. Eat apples and have a good Christmas. Much love. You got it, Buller.
Yeah, that's it, bro. No, much love. It was a good casting with you. All right. So I'm going to take us out. Obviously, guys, follow the socials. Make sure to follow the Twitch. Make sure to follow the YouTube. Make sure to follow the Twitter, TikTok as well. Instagram might be coming a little bit later on in the year. We are obviously trying to promote OSL as much as possible. And with the following of Season 5, we think that we can definitely take that to the next level. Thank you all for attending the season, for participating in the season. To the grand finalists, thank you very much. You've had a cracking season. Lirasanmarine, you played absolutely incredible. Do not hang your heads in shame. Zetsubou, you guys are insane for taking it for the second time in a row and still remaining undefeated throughout the entirety of this organization. Yeah, I mean, I think I'm missing a few things in all honesty. I want to thank the staff team, obviously, for being here and making sure everything is done on the day. They're the guys behind the scenes that you guys don't see other than the casters, the streamers, the referees, even the Twitch moderators and stuff like that. They're all there on the day. They all do their job. They all do their part. So obviously, alongside, you might say myself or Jarms, without us, we wouldn't be able to do it. But obviously, those people all count for it too. And you, the viewers, thank you very much for watching as well. We'll be rating out to one of the lovely people that have been watching our streams as of recently. As far as future events goes, this doesn't stop here. We do have some ideas in the future. They might happen during this year. The main thing is that this season, and this is the last main season for OSL. We're not hosting any games after this, essentially, unless we decide to throw in a mini tournament, something along the lines of a 1v1. A mini tournament, maybe 2 to 4 teams or something of the sort. But you'll obviously be notified with that via the Discord. Make sure to join Discord, !Discord. Thank you for being you. Thank you for being here. I'm going to shut up. I'm going to take my leave. Eat your apples, like Jump said. Peace out, and thank you for coming.